I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up?
And they give those guys a little extra weight. Roger Craig, still on his feet, still running. What a run by Roger Craig. You'll never see a better one than that. From 46 yards. He has that thing of getting those knees high and keeping the shoulders low. And he makes every team look like they're bad tacklers. Watch the way he gets that high knee action, keeps those feet going like two pistons. Then, at the same time that the knees are going high and keeping going, the shoulder can get low to take on a tackler.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait.
Are you kidding me? Do you believe it?
And it's time once again for Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, with Brian Snow. I am Cole Johnson. Welcome to a fantastic Wednesday. Oh, did I say the day of the week? Yes, it is Wednesday. So you know Bronsexual Confessions is on tap. Also, we will talk about some issues with certain people who are settling in court, certain people retiring, and other things of that nature. But let's get started already, shall we? Whiparound, please. So we start in Houston as John Wall opts in and sides talk about their future. I think that's all I need to talk about with that.
What future?
Exactly. Perfectly stated. Mike D'Antoni meets again with the Charlotte Hornets. Why? Because he really wants a job. He interviewed for the job earlier. Of course, they gave it to Kenny Atkinson, who, when the Warriors raised the Larry O'Brien trophy last week, said, I don't want the job anymore.
Said, psych.
I don't know why teams want to have D'Antoni on the bench. I know he knows basketball. I know he's astute in the sport. But the thing is, the style that he plays is wonderful in regular season and get butts and seats, but it will not produce your championship. It hasn't yet. It won't now. It won't even if the game were to change to his high octane style.
Mm-hmm. And you can thank Steph Curry for that.
Yeah,
you can thank Steph Curry and the world champion Warriors for that, because they took that style and added backdoor cuts. They added, what's the word I'm looking for? Fundamentals. Oops.
Yes, that is what is sorely lacking with the chunk all the threes you want system of Mike D'Antoni. Switching to the MLB, Aaron Judge. Yes, the Yankees, Aaron Judge. He intends just to wear a nice suit and introduce himself and sit back as a 3-person arbitration panel debates whether he should be paid the $21 million salary he believes he is worth this season. Now, the hearing will be held Friday.
Next.
Now, I look at it this way. All the things are going well for the Yankees. I mean, this is one of those seasons where, and I judge a Major League Baseball season by the Yankees fan base. If you're hearing them complain a ton, then that means the season is going bad. But if you don't hear them peep at all, that means the season's going good. Since I have not heard a peep from them, everything is up and rosy for the Yankees and Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my partner said it best.
Until October.
Until October. Now that's a different story. You know, the baseball equivalent of Mike D'Antoni's coach teams. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Yep, and I've been saying it out loud the last few years.
Major League Baseball requires all teams to muddy the ball using exact same technique. Well, so they're requiring teams to, yes, they're requiring teams to do this process where you remove the gloss from new baseballs to give pitchers a better grip. Now, it's been used in games for decades, and it's as important as ever now, considering the league is cracking down on the use of foreign substances over this past year. Muddying baseballs. I
That
when I
doesn't
thought of
sound right at all.
no, it does not. It sounds as crooked as it came out. And I think it
It
almost the
sounds as
description
crooked as
is.
George Stein. It sounds as crooked as George Steinbrenner when he owned the Yankees, at least until he got things right. Next.
The league memo is another attempt to reach as much uniformity as possible for the dozens of balls used throughout Major League Baseball parks every night. Now, all I have to say to that is you all are so grasping for straws. You want to pull the basketball and the football crowd so bad, but you just don't know how. It ain't with this. And as my partner said, beautifully. Next. Details from 2009 detail sexual assault allegations against Washington Commanders owner Daniel Snyder. So, a woman accused Snyder of sexually harassing and assaulting her on a team plane 13 years ago, and she was paid $1.6 million to shh. The woman's allegations and settlement were previously reported in the Washington Post, December, not of last year, but the year before. But the specific things of the details of this allegation, they weren't disclosed. But the thing is, Mr. Snyder, you have a lot more of these coming. And we will talk later about how far hush money goes and what hush money does in the terms of what the public perception will look at you as being.
That's what they tell you. Get on the plane. Get on the plane. F you, I'm getting in the plane. Next.
Oh, my God. All right. So I don't know if this is sad news or news, but former Patriots and now former Buccaneers tight end Ron Gronkowski is calling it quits for the second time. He's only 33. He announced it via social media, and he said, quote, "I want to thank the whole entire first-class Buccaneers organization for an amazing ride, trusting me to come back to play and help a championship team. I will now be going back into my retirement home, walking away from football again with my head held high, knowing I gave everything I had, good or bad, every time I stepped on the field. The friendships, relationships I've made will last forever, and I appreciate every single one of my teammates and coaches for giving me everything they had as well. From retirement back to football and winning another chip, and now back to chilling out. Thank you all." Close quote.
Good.
Sir?
Later, Gator.
And I think that is sufficiently how we will close today's Whiparound. Now to the chat, because we have to talk to the fam. Good morning to you, Sick. I hope everything is well with you. Ryan, good morning to you as well. He says, good morning, gentlemen, and good morning to everyone watching and listening. Happy Wednesday. P.S. Pay the man Hellside Brenner. I guess you're getting coached and coaxed.
Steinbrenner and Yankees. Why does that last name continue to? Well, it's like Marge shot with the Reds for many years. Oh, did I bring that up?
Well, at least it stopped with her. And her doggone dog. It stopped with her and her dog. 6 says, good morning, Ryan.
That made my dog turn away. Damn it.
Oh my gosh.
That made my dog creep back into the room. I'm not dealing with this right now.
Thank you, folks. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Six says,
with his head held high and his
body intact.
Yeah.
I will say this about Rob. He comes off as a goofball, but that dude is extremely intelligent.
Man,
because
he was a hell of a player.
Oh God,
he was a hell of a player.
One of the best I've ever seen. One of the best I've ever seen tight end. And and believe me, this is one of those players where if you don't root for him, you wholeheartedly root against him. And when he does the damage against your team, all you can do is just go, I hate your behind, but still, just get off the field.
Just tip your cap.
Yeah, he was that type of player.
When Jody and I, and happy 50th birthday, my love.
I was going to come off the break with that, but go ahead.
You can still come off the break with that, but when we were watching Super Bowl 55 and was seeing Rob Gronkowski and Tom Brady basically destroy the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, they did.
We both had picked the Chiefs. And then the game began and both our picks went out the window.
But see, here's the funny thing.
It's like we looked at each other and went, for the second time in 3 years, what the hell was that?
And here's the funny thing about that game. So the first quarter, I was looking at the Chiefs not being themselves, and the Bucs seemed like I didn't know if it was what I thought it was, but I was like, man, it seems like the Bucs are trying to feel the Chiefs out. Yeah, and that's exactly how it felt because starting the early second quarter, that's when they exploded on them.
It was on,
and that was it. And the game was over halfway to the second quarter.
I was like, we took our snacks and went to bed. Now, normally my wife has this rule: if we start watching a football game together, we have to finish it. We looked at each other and went, nah. We're like, we can go to bed. This game's over. And my daughter came in and said, y'all are quitting the game now? We looked at her and she looked at us, and Sonia goes, it must be over already. Yep. So we took a few snacks, went in the bedroom, put on an audiobook, and crashed. I love Eugene Deckeroff, longtime voice of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But even I, a radio rat, didn't want to hear Gene Deckeroff go touchdown Tampa Bay several more times.
But yeah, he said it 4 in that game. So yeah,
4 times.
He had mini practice. All right, a little housekeeping before we do go to break. If you want to tune in to us, all you have to do is listen to Real Wise Radio. Thank you, Wise. Appreciate that. Also, where of course you can find us podcast wise on all major platforms, including Odyssey. You also, if you're looking at us, how you doing? Firstly, secondly, you're doing so either through Roku TV, courtesy of the BS3 network, or you're doing it on Facebook Live, or you're doing it on YouTube. And if you are at YouTube, go to youtube.com/C/Snowman in the Morning 50. That's Snowman in the Morning 50 for you Wise. There's Snowman in the Morning 50. You go there and you will be amongst the throng. You be like Sick and you be like Ryan and our boys Andrew and Dietz and KPs and K Peeps and A Pizzle and that critical Broncos fan. Miss you, John. Come on back, brother. And Ethan, and he pops in every now and then. And of course, and Tricia and the Latina. All of you. We love you. We love you. We love you. And while you're there, subscribe to that channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can get any and all content that comes from the Snowman in the Morning YouTube channel. We will step aside for the cause, and when we come back,
we're gonna cook.
and we're going to cook mighty hard. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. With Brian Snow, I'm Cole Johnson. We'll be back right after this.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
You're so right for me, and I'm right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go, babe. I'm never gonna let you go. No, never gonna let you go.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
If you can celebrate Christian McCaffrey having a 1,000,000 season, if you can celebrate Marshall Faulk, who had a 1,000,000 season by electing him into the Hall of Fame, then why can't we celebrate the guy who originated the 1,000,000 season with a Hall of Fame election? I'm talking about the one and only Roger Craig.
If you want some, come get some.
Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning.
Hour number one of Snowman in the Morning continues with Brian Snow. I am Cole Johnson. Welcome back. And the voice you just heard beginning the commercial break and ending it is that of Dr. K, a.k.a. Jody, a.k.a. Mrs. Snowman. And this is an important day for her because this is number 50 she's celebrating. Happy golden birthday from all of us at Snowman in the Morning to you, ma'am. We love you.
Happy birthday, my love. And we're going to celebrate this. I just got off the phone with her. She's getting ready to start her workday out in Salt Lake City. Just a lot of training. But
wow, she's done early.
Yeah, I did something kids do. I called her last night and I serenaded her with a birthday song.
I'm sure she appreciate that.
She does.
Good.
But it's number 50, man. It's a birthday. It's a special birthday, and it's her. It's just her. All right, let's get down to business. Dietz will come at 10:05,
and he's coming with heat already.
Hour.
He's coming with heat already.
Hour. Oh yeah.
He actually says, and what's up, brother? He says, hey, everybody, be ready for a rocking 10 o'clock hour. He says, one question to keep in mind. Would you rather be labeled a misogynist or a racist? I'll explain this at 10. So in hour number 3, you're going to get a lot of heat from one Mr. Christopher Dietz, our brother.
And if y'all are familiar with Street Fighter, I just echo 2 words from Sagat: Tiger uppercut. And there's going to be a lot of them.
Oh my
okay.
gosh.
I think I will take I think I will take I think I'll take the first one. Roll that purple bean footage.
I love how you set that up. It's Wednesday. You know what it is. You know how it is. You know how we get down. Here we go.
In a world where partial greatness is celebrated and total greatness is shunned, there stands to be a figure on the lips of those who love him and those who hate him. The inane comparisons to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant continue and has existed since 2003. There is no end in sight, for the battle between those who unconditionally love and unconditionally hate him wages on. These are their stories. Welcome to the Bronsexual Confessions.
And with that, I only have one word to say, sir. Cook.
I saw the most ridiculous post
already. Oh my gosh.
As I was, and you'll have to put this cue up for me, as I was perusing social media, it was not quiet.
I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, when it came to this guy. And the post that I read and the many that echoed it read the following. Open it.
Quote.
Y'all act like Curry is on LeBron's level. Curry is not on LeBron's level. Grow up. Slam the door.
Close quote.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
I need a little Dolomite right about now.
I know.
Is you for real?
Bitch, are you for real?
Goodness gracious. Grow up, huh? All right.
Okay. Has it ever occurred to you stupid asses that not only is Curry on LeBron's level, but he has surpassed it? You know, my partner mentioned so brilliantly and so beautifully that there are teams that lean on championships of the past. Well, these Bronsexuals lean on 2016 like it's a crutch on its last leg.
That's quite accurate.
Get the hell over it. Because
That
y'all
is
know there was
quite
a conspiracy in 2016. You just don't want to admit it aloud.
Wow, that is quite accurate. Yes.
It's a crutch on its last leg. Okay? Leave it alone. Let it die. Let it. I won't echo Frozen because I'll sound like my grandchildren.
I was thinking the song too. I was like, no.
I will sound like every one of my grandchildren, and I'm tempted, but I won't do it. Especially my granddaughters. Moving on. Get the bloody hell over it.
Let it go.
Let
it go.
I can hear Gracie in one ear and my daughter Donna in another ear singing that same thing, teasing me with it. Doggone it. Good morning, Wise.
Oh, good morning to you, brother.
On the fray.
Good morning to you, my man.
Leave it alone, will you please? I mean, y'all lean on 2006. Oh, the Warriors choked a 3-1 lead. Yeah, and LeBron has choked every other finals opportunity, you dumbasses. 4-2 versus 4-6. Let those numbers sink in, will you please? 4-2 versus 4-6.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that kind of tell you anything about the level where Stephen Curry is? And I saw another post as I was perusing social media.
Oh,
they had this one's good. They had their stars of the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and 2020s.
Okay.
You know the best part? They listed Stephen Curry as the 2010s and the 2020s, which pissed Bronsexuals off. And I loved every single minute of it. Because all they kept crying was open it.
Oh, no. Quote.
Where's LeBron? He should be in the 2010s. Slam that bitch.
Close quote.
You know your damn role.
So this Hornets nest just begged to be.
Sorry. I had to interject for The Rock there for a second.
And you know what? I don't mind one bit. You know I love The Rock. You know I love The Rock. I'll repeat what he said live. Know your damn role and shut your damn mouth.
Oh my gosh.
You know, with all these Bronsexuals saying, you know, where's Bron in the 2010s? I'm going to, you know, that statement that howitzer I dropped before I went under the knife.
Yes.
I have another one.
Oh.
There has never been a LeBron James era.
Damn!
Never been a LeBron James era. Wow. I will buffer that a little bit. Normally, when it's somebody's era, they have changed the game on the court fundamentally somehow. Normally, right? The last time the game fundamentally changed before now was Shaq, where there just was no answer for the guy. I mean, when he actually learned that he was a bully, he owned being a bully, he loved being a bully, and that he was the most dominant player in the game for 3 years, there was no answer for the guy. And because of it, the game got smaller and the game got more athletic because they figured, well, heck, we can't out physical the guy, so we're gonna have to try to run around him. So the game got smaller and the game got quicker because of him. Well,
and the game got wider.
and the game got wider because they figured, okay, well, let's try to get him out the post so that we can play it a little more free form, because he is just tearing up the post. Well, that happened. Then the game sort of got into, I guess you could say, a lull. And then here comes this guy who was out of Davidson. Where's number 30? Wore number 30 there. Where's number 30 now for the Warriors? And we started to see it in 2012 in spurts, in spades. And we saw it more in 2013 and more in 2014. By the time we got to 2015, we started to see, it was on then. And then by 2017, the transformation the transformation was complete, because then you had everybody who thought that this team that this guy is on, they put up 25 33s a game, so we're gonna have to put up 25 33s a game to beat them. And oh my God, we actually had a team who did just that the previous June. So once that was seen, everybody had to do it, and that's been the last evolution of the game, where now teams want to take. Go ahead.
Open it.
Okay. Quote:
Stephen Curry took an anomaly and turned it into a weapon.
Close quote. And because
when has your Kang,
oh Lord,
revolutionized and evolutionized the game?
And if you think that is false, 2009 teams were taking on average 8 threes a game. Now in 2022, teams all across the league take on average 23. You have number 30 of the Warriors to thank for that, because he's the greatest shooter that God ever created.
And my partner added something to my statement.
Yes, I did.
When he said,
quote,
the Warriors took that weapon and turned it into a strategy.
Yes, sir. Close quote.
The Princeton offense on steroids.
That's what I've called them. I have officially termed them that. They're the Princeton offense on steroids.
And if you looked at any game, even the ones that they lost in the NBA World Championship Series, if they're not chucking them from distance within their offense, they are slicing you to pieces on the back door.
And it's ridiculous how they do it with such ease, accuracy, and will.
And you know, people want to say, oh, Steph's not a true point guard. Baloney. Steph just has become the master of the tic-tac-toe assist. The one who's getting the definition of the assist in the NBA, as told to me by my late friend Mick Burge, it's the pass that leads directly to a basket. That is true.
That is very true.
But Stephen Curry has added something to that. The hockey assist.
That's right.
Or as Bob Fitzgerald, longtime television voice and sometimes radio voice of the Golden State Warriors, says best, 3 simple words: tic-tac-toe. And oh, by the way, to make my partner smile, in the Warriors case of them winning a championship, you can switch a word and say tic-tac-dough. because it paid off for Golden State as they're back on top.
I'm gonna address why I actually love the fact the Warriors are on top in relation to the Bronsexuals in my Bronsexual Confession next hour, because
I can't wait. I will lead you to the water.
Oh, please do.
I will lead you to the water. And I know Chris has got some fire for his Bronsexual Confession during the 10 a.m. hour. We're going to lead with that. Here is why Stephen Curry has obliterated the quote LeBron James era, close quote. Not only did he take an anomaly and turn it into a weapon, not only did Steve Kerr take that weapon and turn it into a strategy, everything that Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and that entire Warriors organization has achieved has been within the confines of a team. You know, there's a lot of people that say, "Oh, there's no I in team," and there's a hell of a lot of truth to that. Hey, Bronsexuals, I got a question for you. When has LeBron James ever grasped the team concept?
Grasp his own team. I mean, we see Rich Paul and we see Maverick Carter, and I'm sorry, you're not talking about that team. My bad.
No.
I mean, Savannah James blazing it up in progressive. I'm sorry, you're not talking about that. My bad.
I have a note about that a little later. Dietz poses a true question, though. How is anyone the player of the 2020s? We're only 2 years in. True.
Yeah.
Giannis,
and there's
Joker
will be coming after him. Yeah.
There are going to be plenty others. And that's so true. But y'all got to admit, Steph has ruled the 2010s. I mean, ruled it with a, God help me, here I go talking fundamentals, jump shot.
Oops. But the way he does it, he makes it look like it's a poor man's attempt every single time.
You mean
it's like you actually practice this form?
Have you seen him practice? Have you seen his precision in practice?
Oh my. This is I'm not clowning him, but this is really what I saw. So he was trying to practice his handles, he was trying to dribble between his legs and shoot a corner three. So he botched up the footwork in dribbling between his legs, and then when he started to get a good rhythm, then he would dribble the ball off his foot, and then after that he actually got the handles okay, and then he chunked up a shot, and he actually lost the ball on his way up to deliver the shot. And then once that got straight, he took the shot and it hit the side of the backboard. That was all within the 2-minute video that I saw. And that is okay. Bronsexuals. I'm sorry, sir.
Meanwhile, with Steph, you get a 20-minute demonstration of precision. You know why he's never participated in the skills competition during All-Star Weekend? He doesn't need to.
I mean, it's must-see viewing for him to shoot threes from the tunnel. Not from mid-court now, which he does every game. Not from mid-court, from the tunnel.
From the tunnel. And there's so much arc on that shot. It's not even funny. And by the way, while I was once again perusing social media,
Oh man.
Yes, here it is. Klay Thompson has no bag.
What?
He misses layups. Klay Thompson is washed.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Klay Thompson is washed.
What?
Okay.
Huh? The man just came off of being injured 2.5 years. How in the heck is he washed? I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
I'm gonna switch a name. LeBron James is washed.
Oh no. No, he's not washed. He just he gave you 38-6 this past year. I mean, their Kang did things that the 37-year-old has never done. Their Kang came this close to winning a scoring championship. Their Kang led the Lakers to a 33-win season. But they played 82 games.
And the real king at age 40 played the entire 82 game schedule. And the final game of his career was in Philadelphia. At age 40, Michael Jordan played the entire 82 game season. LeBron James is, and I'm going to need Stone Cold a few times when I echo my next set of statements, which are going to piss Bronsexuals off. They're going to try to nail me to a cross, but I'll come down off that bitch and stand tall and stand by my following statements. LeBron James is washed.
What?
LeBron James has no game.
What?
LeBron James has no handles.
What?
LeBron James has no jump shot.
What?
LeBron James can't make a free throw in crunch time to save his life.
Bitch, please.
What?
And I said all that to say there has never been a LeBron James era. Wow. And LeBron James, since 2003, in my humble opinion, has been finished.
Wow, not finished.
Done. Finished. Finito. Kaputski.
What? 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 What?
86?
What?
86, 76.
Bought the farm?
What?
Bought the farm.
Claims the big
What?
Out the pasture.
What?
Goose cook?
What?
Wow, that's cold.
Red Fox, aka Fred G. Sanford, would always say it's the big one. Well, this is the big one for Bronsexuals with everything I'm saying.
Oh, and for those who really do believe that LeBron James is the greatest player of all time.
Bitch, please.
That felt good.
Hey, Bishop Bullwinkle, answer a question for me, if you would. Has LeBron James ever been all of that in 20 years?
Wow.
Hell no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. To the no, no, no. Listen.
He had to get the bishop. He had to get the old bishop on it.
Hell no. And to think he had the unmitigated gall to wear number 23.
Well, because Jordan was his idol.
Michael Jordan actually played the game correctly. Michael Jordan, after prodding from Phil Jackson, trusted his teammates. And that was just intensity getting to MJ because he wanted to win so bad. But I'll say it again. Michael Jordan actually trusted his teammates. Michael Jordan was actually, oh, here it comes, coached. Stephen Curry is coached and coached well. So you want to know the biggest difference between Michael Jordan and LeBron James? It's pretty simple. LeBron James had the league handed to him. Michael Jordan earned it. In short, LeBron James has had the league by the throat, by the balls, shackled, handcuffed, pinned to a wall, and duct taped for 20 years and hasn't done a damn thing. I echo the words of Eddie Griffin. And forgive me in advance. Thirsty bitches. Close this thing.
In a world where logic and sense flies completely out the window, while purple and yellow glasses are donned, rises a figure who encourages ridiculous, undying loyalty. Good Lord, I'm about to throw up. This has been yet another installment of The Bronsexual Confessions.
Hour number 2 of Snowman in the Morning begins now.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up?
Kelly's one-strike pitch. Swinging a fly ball, center field deep. Bellinger going back to the warning track, to the wall. It's a grand slam! Howie Kendrick has done it! They're going crazy in the Nationals dugout! Howie Kendrick with a grand slam here in the 10th inning of Game 5. The Nationals 7, the Dodgers 3. Do you believe it? Do you believe
This is Snowman in the morning.
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait.
Are you kidding me? Do you believe it? Do you believe it?
My favorite part.
Vez Ravine and Dave Jackler, one half of the Washington Nationals broadcast team. Sorry about that, Cole. Bringing us in for our number 2. And when that home run happened, by Howie Kendrick. I came home, fell into bed, and laughed my ass off. Now, Jody is not a baseball fan, but she looked at me and said, "Tell me something good happened during the game tonight." I said, "Yep, a grand slam in the top of the 10th inning." And her only word to me was, "Damn."
Well, I will always love that clip because I'm not the biggest fan of Joe Kelly. And to see the look on his face after Kendrick deposited that grand slam over the Chavez Ravine fence, I could watch that part over and over and over again.
Same.
That brought me sincere joy.
And you with Joe Kelly, same here, and me with Aroldis Chapman when Jose Altuve smacked a walk-off.
Yeah, and I was deliriously happy when that moment happened, but when I look back at it, I'm thinking to myself, Aroldis, you know that Jose Altuve will smash any ball that is center of plate, waist high. You know this. Why are you trying to throw a breaking ball that didn't break in this particular moment?
That did not break. Aroldis, did you not learn your lesson with the Cubs when you faced Rajay Davis in the 8th inning?
And so every time I see that footage, instead of the joy that I feel in seeing Joe Kelly and his face sunk after Howie Kendrick's grand slam, I'm happy for Altuve, of course, and I'm happy as an Astros fan, but I'm thinking, Aroldis,
why?
You have heat. Why did you forego the heat to basically serve this guy really a glorified batting practice pitch? Why?
Deets in the chat, as if I wasn't fired up enough. You have to play the home run that won the Nationals a World Series. As a Mets fan, it fires up the blood.
Now,
you know what, Chris? I will oblige by the end of the week.
Now, I will say this. About that homer. Once I heard the clang off of the right field pole, I can literally say to you, my blood ran cold. Because this was the top of the 7th. Now I figured, okay, well, the Astros, and my wife was watching with me. My wife was like, well, the Astros still have some time to come back. The moment I heard the ding off the pole, I was like, this game's over. This game is over. And I was so livid with the Astros. I was like, you swept the Nationals in DC, and you couldn't get one game at the juice box. Not one.
They're gonna get swept in Houston.
And they got swept in Houston. I'm like, oh my gosh. Andrew says, screw that walk-off. How you doing, brother? It's good to see you again. Ivan, it's good to see you too, man. He goes, snow, and it's a cold, cold world. Y'all heard, man. Much love to you, Ivan. Much love to you, brother.
Much love, Ivan. Much love, Ivan. But nothing will do it for me than John Rooney calling Jermaine Dye's game winner in 2005 that scored the only run of the game
and then run
in Houston.
Okay. Was that game? That was game 3, right?
4.
Oh, it was game 4? Oh, okay. No, that couldn't have been game 4.
Yeah,
So
it was game. It was game 4 because it was game 4 because the final was 1-0.
Oh, okay. All right.
And Willie Harris scored the only run of the game. And Juan Uribe made not one but 2 incredible 9th inning plays,
including the last out. Yeah,
including the last out. We're talking baseball here to kick off hour 2. For those that think You know what? I'm going to give Jay Spivey a 3.5 because there are a few certain people. There are a few certain people that told me I shouldn't talk baseball on my show. First of all, it's my damn show. It's our damn show. And secondly, I grew up with the sport of baseball.
I told you on this show.
Mm-hmm.
The first sport I learned and the first sport that I played with my father was not football, not basketball, it was baseball.
It was baseball. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was baseball.
And the first stories I heard from my father when it came to sports was baseball, because his favorite player ended up becoming mine too, and Jackie Robinson. And he would tell so many stories about him. And he would set the scene. My father is a great storyteller. He would set the scene and stage of when he was, because I think when Robinson was in the league, he was still in grammar school at the time. And of course, as he progressed through the time, he was in junior high and then in high school, and then he went to the military by the time Jackie retired. So he would tell me, he told me where he was at certain times, like when Jackie stole home plate on the against the Yankees. He would tell me how he felt, and then he would get so animated in telling the story, especially when Jackie would take his leads off of the bag. I could see my father. My father in his seat, he'd be dancing. It was great to actually watch the theater of just explaining the story of him. And this wasn't him seeing it on TV or at the game. This is he's getting this from listening on the radio. And he was
which is why I'm such a radio rat.
Right.
Which is exactly why I'm such a radio rat. And I got a treat for White Sox fans here. Let me see if I queued this up correctly. John Rooney in 2005.
Here's the 1-2 pitch to Palmeiro. A ground ball past Jenks up the middle of the infield. Uribe has it. He throws. Out! A White Sox winner and a world championship. The White Sox have won the World Series, and they're mobbing each other on the field.
My dad and I cried.
I bet you did.
I bet you did. Cried.
I bet you both did. On the other end, that one didn't hurt, really. That loss didn't hurt at all. And the reason,
that series could go either way.
Yeah, I was about to say the reason why it was 2-4. 1, every game was competitive, and 2, the Astros weren't pegged to go that far. So
exactly. They weren't supposed to be there. It was all about the St. Louis Cardinals.
It was all about the Cardinals, right?
In the National League.
Right.
When Albert Pujols gave him the lead, in Houston in game 5, no one expected Houston to go to St. Louis and win game 6, and that's exactly what they did. They pummeled them.
Yeah, because they were thinking that. Yeah, because of the way Pujols creamed Brad Litch's fastball middle of the plate, which is probably still traveling even today.
Oh
man,
now
17 years later, they thought that was a deflating blow to the team, and it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
And who was the radio voice of the Astros at the time? The late great Milo
Hamilton. I love that voice. One of the greatest to ever call baseball games.
And the fellow who's following him now, Robert Ford, is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, he's forging a legacy of his own. Yeah,
man, is he ever? That's why I'm such a fan of the Astros and how they bounce back, and I've been such a fan of Robert Ford, and I've shamelessly borrowed his home run call. I told him no better than Game 6 in Houston in 1986. Jesse
Don't tell that.
Orozco.
Don't tell that lie, Dietz. Don't tell that lie. Don't tell that lie. That game went 7 innings too long.
Mm-hmm. And Bob Nepper.
Well, that was a good game.
Bob Nepper started that game.
Pitched 8 scoreless innings.
First 8 scoreless innings, got to the 9th, and then the Mets rocked him for 3 tying runs.
Yeah.
And Keith Jackson did the television call.
Mm-hmm.
Walked in, and I heard 3-2 to Bass. Struck him out. I said, what?
I was as silent as the Astrodome was when I saw that.
I bet, man.
I mean, and I said this recently. I said I don't think I've ever seen anybody throw a mitt as high in the sky as Orozco did after that strike.
Yeah.
The pass.
Mm-hmm. And remember, Orozco did the same thing when they won the World Series in New York.
Yeah, he did. He did.
A week later.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh my
But when you have legendary voices like the great Keith Jackson and Vin Scully voicing baseball games, man, you're in heaven.
Oh, yeah.
I know I was.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's why I will always be a fan of his. Just simply with Game 1, 1988 World Series. He ended that thing so beautifully. The call that the things he said and the things he did not say in that moment were absolutely on point.
Didn't have to say it.
No, he let the Dodgers, he let the Chavez Ravine roar as soon as the ball was out of sight. He just stood back and just let the scene speak for itself. I was like, that's a pro right there.
Speaking of Robert Ford,
out of the rubber, pitch on the way, round ball right side into the shift to his left. Altuve has it in short right, throws to first, and the Astros are 2017 World Series champions. For the first time ever, the Astros are baseball's best.
Robert Ford doing the honors.
Greatest baseball moment for me was that.
Darrell Owens from the Legacy Maker Sports Network hopping on.
What's up, Darrell?
Thank
Pleasure
you, Darrell.
to see you, man.
Got to get Darrell back on the program. That group of Mets from '86 should have won multiple World Series. Shame they won only one. Yeah, when you face Oral Hershiser in Game 7 in California.
Yeah, and you face doing lines all the way. That's why they only had one, because they didn't take their talents, to me, seriously enough.
No,
maybe for the exception of Gary Carter. That's probably the only exception. But besides him, and maybe Davey Johnson, who was of course, for those who don't know, that was the manager of the team. I don't know if any of those men really took what they did seriously, because I think they took it for granted that, okay, well, we were the little engine that could. We made some noise in '84, made a little more noise in '85, and then in '86 we took the world by storm. And I think when they got the World Series championship, they figured, okay, well, like you said, Ryan, I think they figured, okay, we got 2 or 3 more coming. Yeah. And '88 to me was the biggest rude awakening for them, because they realized, a good pitcher can mess all of this up against us.
Yeah, and Oral Hershiser, who's one of my favorite pitchers of all time, did it to them not once, not twice, but 3 times. And Oral Hershiser was to the Dodgers in '88.
Best performances in a playoffs by a pitcher ever.
Oral Hershiser was to the Dodgers in '88. Was Jack Morris to the Minnesota Twins in 1991.
And I say the same thing about Jack Morris. One of the best playoff performances ever by a pitcher. Those two, ever.
Because you can't tell me that Jack Morris's masterpiece in 1991.
Scoreless innings in a World Series Game 7.
No one's ever done it since. No one did it before him.
No one did
No
before
one
either. Yeah.
done it after him. That's why when I throw that trivia question out there of a big game sports buzz in the house, hey, do me a favor. For those of you checking in, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and Cole, if you do me a favor and throw the PayPal up there, we're looking for some donations to help the show and help the cause of 100 Days to Carolina. Please donate to the cause in any way that you can.
What's up,
When
man?
I throw that trivia question out there of who's the only pitcher to throw a 10-inning complete game in a World Series clincher, not many people hear the word clincher. And, folks would ask, why don't you rephrase the question? No, because it was a World Series clincher. I guess you forgot about Gene Larkin being the hero.
In the bottom of the 10th. Yeah.
I guess you forget about, and here I go borrowing the great Chris Berman, Dan the man from Gladden stretching a single into a double. And they get the bases loaded, and Gene Larkin with a walk-off single to win it. That sounds like a clincher to me. That absolutely sounds like a clincher to me.
And the funny thing to me was, for the longest time, they did not put this guy, Jack Morris, talking about, in the Hall of Fame, because I'm thinking, yes, he was the ace for the Tigers in '84, and he was a stud there, no question. And
But
he
he
actually
was a
ended up getting
bigger
another ring in
stud.
another 2 rings, 92 and 93 with the Jays. But
With
I'm
the
thinking to
Blue Jays.
myself, but I'm thinking
the best time he had was with the Minnesota Twins.
I'm thinking, you have a pitcher who went into a Game 7 and threw 10 scoreless innings, and that doesn't belong on the Hall of Fame? Just that performance alone doesn't belong on the Hall of Fame? How?
And the bad part,
And he's in there now, but
Tom Kelly was going to pull him after the 9th inning.
I'm glad he
Hey,
didn't.
Bishop Bullwinkle, what did Jack Morris say to Tom Kelly when Tom Kelly was going to pull him in the 9th inning of Game 7 of the 91 series?
Yeah.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no. Listen.
Actually, now DT's in the Hall now. He got inducted in 2018, but it took a long time for him to get there.
The scariest part about Jack Morris? That mustache. The most intimidating thing to me about Jack Morris, be it with the Tigers or with the Twins, was that mustache.
Yeah.
And Coach Jack Morris from Highland Park, Minnesota. But man, I hated Jack Morris because he threw a no-hitter against my White Sox in '84. But doggone it, you respect greatness.
Got to.
And Jack Morris was every bit of that.
Right.
Jack Morris was every bit of that.
Yeah, he was.
Can't convince me or tell me otherwise, man.
Yeah. Very few big game pitchers came bigger than Jack Morris. Very few. And I mean, you have to strain to think of some that are bigger or just as. Because when the moments were brightest, that arm was golden, and those bats got silent and cold.
I mean, Jack Morris is one of my favorite pitchers of all time. Jack the Cat Morris. And he beat the Braves twice, and both those games were in the Metrodome. And anyone who remembers the Metrodome, it was louder than hell.
Yes, it was on TV. It was
the only other. Yeah, the only other Twins pitcher was Frank Sweet Music Viola, who beat the Cardinals in a Game 7 in 1987.
Frank Viola, I haven't heard that name in years. Oh my gosh, man!
Frank Sweet Music Viola, and Jack Morris and Frank Viola share a common denominator. They were both elected series MVPs for the Minnesota Twins. Speaking of great baseball voices, remember Al Michaels calling Kent Herbeck's grand slam in Game 6? And McGee running out of room and the ball was still traveling?
I totally forgot he called baseball games too. But yeah. I mean, yeah.
Michaels did it all.
Yeah, I know he called. I know he called hockey games too. I've heard him call Boston matches. Yeah, 1980. Heard him call hockey games, Boston matches, and of course, 1989 World Series. He was there, and of course football. But yeah, underrated voice. Period, man. He knew how to be in the moment. Oh, I think my favorite call of his 1986 American League Championship Series.
I know where you're going, and I'm about to find it. I'm about to find it.
Which game did Dave Henderson hit that homer? Was it 4 or 5?
I will 5.
5. That's my favorite call from him.
I'm about to find it right now. While we're strolling down memory lane, let me find this gem.
And I think, and I think Dietz, which what he's saying, it took real baseball people to put him in, not these bum writers. To me, that is what makes Jack Morris's induction to Hall of Fame even sweeter, because it took real people who understood his talent to put him in there.
And I found an absolute gem that no one will ever beat. Here it is.
To left field and deep and down he goes back and it's gone. Unbelievable.
Change that series for good,
all the way around. That is my favorite. That's my favorite Al Michaels baseball call right there.
They had they had police surrounding Anaheim Stadium, and yes, I still call it Anaheim Stadium. Oh my gosh, they had, it was 1 ball and 2 strikes to Dave Henderson. It was 1 ball and 2 strikes, and then let me just go ahead. Let me just go ahead and repeat it. For those of you that saw it live, because yes, they played baseball in the afternoons on school days.
That's right.
This happened.
To left field and deep and down he goes back and it's gone. Unbelievable.
Boy, Anaheim Stadium got styling quick. I remember that. I remember watching it.
Oh man. when you talk baseball and legendary voices, you know what? I got another one before we go to break, and before we bring up another Bronsexual confession, because we got 3 today. I've already done mine. Cole is going to do his at the bottom of the hour. I've got to do this. We talked Keith Jackson. And they played baseball games in the afternoon once upon a time. Let's go back to 1986, and Dietz, this is for you.
Back when I was junior high school.
Going back. It's gone.
When the crowd told the story. When Shea Stadium nearly crumbled to the floor.
Was that game 3 to ALCS? I mean NLCS?
Game 3.
Yeah,
Game 3.
That's what I thought. I remember. Yeah,
and that was the Saturday afternoon before college football happened.
Mm-hmm.
Man, when sports were sports, and the individual entities of the networks that actually aired them stood out.
Hold up. For posterity purposes, ABC had Keith Jackson calling the NLCS and Al Michaels calling the ALCS. How legendary was that? And is that now?
Hold up. Let me find something. And I know we're doing this before we go to break.
Now that's a great Jack Buck call. No question.
Touch him up. Actually, that was Tom Cheek.
Oh, that was Tom Cheek.
That was the Blue Jays voiced
That's
Tom
right.
Cheek
That's right. That's right. Thank you for that.
That did that. Well, let's use that to let's take that in the break.
Okay.
And I'm gonna find it. All right, is this? Okay, I think this is a double play for it, but
Joe Carter with a 3-run homer. The winners and still world.
Sean McDonough with the honors on CBS.
Right.
Vin Scully on CBS Radio.
Donald Meyer and Castillo throwing in cave extra inning. Fastball is hit to left field, down the line, in the corner, home run. Joe Carter hits the 2-1 field left field wall. And the Toronto Blue Jays come back with 3 in the bottom of 9th inning to become the world champions yet again.
Here's the pitch on the way. A swing and a belt. Left field. Way back. Blue Jays win it. The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run in the 9th inning, and the Blue Jays have repeated as World Series champions. Touch them all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
The late great Tom Cheek, many years the voice of the Blue Jays, provided that call. We got YSL Jefe standing by. Let's go to let's go
to the break.
Hey, what's up? What's up, Wise?
What up, gentlemen? How y'all doing today?
Doing good, man. What's up?
Enjoying vacation.
Right here, I see.
So 2 days. That's 2 days with Bronsexuals, huh?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
and
we're
when
not.
we come off
We're
a break,
not
I'm
even
about
close
to head into
mine.
So yeah. So how's everybody doing?
Everyone's
We're doing
good,
great. We're doing great. My wife turned 50 today, and I'm celebrating by doing what I do: hard work, bringing in some sponsors, and I know you're working hard to bring us some as well, Wise. And I ain't got no patience, but I have to buy some patience, especially when this cancer fight keeps going on. But let's go to a break.
Yeah,
You're watching us live on BSC TV and YouTube, and hearing us live on Real Wise Radio, the SCM Sports Network, and 24 hours a day at officialsitmorn.com. We'll be back.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Baby, you see, you're so right for me, and I'm right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never gonna let you go. Baby, never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Well, Dr. K, it is official SIT Morn. That is how you do it. Official SIT Morn on that Instagram thing or that Twitter thing. Happy birthday again to you, ma'am. Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. With Brian Snow, I am Cole Johnson. And before we head into Bronsexual Confessions, I have this to do really fast. So, Deshaun Watson, sit down, son. So, Mr. Watson yesterday decided to settle with 20 of his 24 massage therapists who alleged that he performed sexual misconduct deeds while being on the massage table. So he reached this confidential settlement with them. And this is after he proclaimed that he was going to fight this all the way and he wasn't going to settle with any of them. So he said, quote, Today I announced that all cases against Deshaun Watson, with the exception of 4, have settled. This is from Tony Busby. I'm sorry. We are working through the paperwork related to those settlements. Once we have those done, those particular cases will be dismissed. The terms and amounts of settlements are confidential. We won't comment further on the settlements of those cases. Close quote. Now,
and with that quote being said,
sir,
with that quote being said, I'm going to go grab some breakfast. And before I go grab some breakfast and obey my wife, I return the favor that Cole did for me earlier in the show. And the only word I have is cook.
Well, you heard the demand. Here I go. So you see, Mr. Watson, you said, sir, you were going to defend your name, defend your honor, and that you weren't going to settle with any one of these 24 and now 26 massage therapists who have levied a sexual misconduct charge against you. Now, let me get off of that portion for a while, because I have 2 words for you in terms of what I believe you are in this instance. But to those who are woke, to those who claim that this is something that, well, it's civil, it shouldn't matter because criminally he's not being charged with anything, let's understand something. Put yourself in the shoes of one Michael Jackson. Now, when he had the child molestation charges against him, he did criminally have to fight against them. He fought them off. He was considered not guilty in the criminal trial. But there were a couple of civil trials. And he settled with with the cases that we know of. You know how many people who thought he still was a child molester even to this day? Many. And that's because the public perception is that if you aren't guilty of anything or you're not liable of something, because in the civil setting, it's if you're liable or not. If you're not liable, you'd fight it and they wouldn't get a dime, right? That's normally how the thought process goes. Well, Mike, basically, he didn't really say it, but he intimated that he paid off the people who claimed that the parents' children were molested because he wanted to have them out of their lives. Just give them the money and then they can go on their merry way. Just get rid of this. That is basically how he intimated it. But paying someone off is normally an admission of guilt in the eyes of the public opinion. In the eyes of the public, Mr. Watson, you, sir, are 2 things. You are a liar and you are a hoe. You are a liar, sir, because you said that you weren't going to settle with any one of the people who have levied a charge against you, yet you settled with 20 of them, with the possibility of you settling with the other 6. The other two that has recently stepped forward. It hasn't publicly been announced that they're suing you yet, but you have settled with 20 when you said the number was going to be 0. And I got the game. See, the game was you didn't want to come up against criminal charges. So when you stood in front of the grand jury and they decided that they weren't going to charge you in Harris County, and then they decided the same thing for Brazoria County the second time around, you said, well, hey, my stuff is done. I don't have to really defend myself. I'm cool. But you know what happened? This is what happens when you have arrogance coursing through your blood, because you thought this was done. You thought this was over. You thought you didn't have to fight anymore. However, you in depositions, you actually said out of your mouth, Mr. Watson, quote, I am sorry for what I have done to you. Close quote. Any deposition you said this to one of your 24 who have brought forth a charge against you. So that right there says to me, if you apologize for something, that means you know that you did something wrong. You alleged that you didn't do anything wrong. In fact, you actually said that you didn't do anything wrong. So, sir, riddle me this. If you felt as though you didn't do anything wrong, why'd you apologize? Because that would mean that you did something wrong. And the hoe part. You are a hoe, sir, because you wanted to bring your own towel into these massage therapies. Your very own towel. Now, for those who have never been under a massage therapist table, I have been. The towels are supplied for you. You have towels, and you're covered up, especially if it's a woman who's massaging a man, so that the private areas are not to be seen by the masseuse. Right? So you, when you slid into all of those hoes, massage therapist DMs on Instagram, and that is documented proof that has happened. That's not alleged. That actually happened. And you set up all of these appointments enabled by the Texans, I may add. You all should get fined and strip pics of your own doggone selves. When you slid into these women's DMs and you set the terms up, one of those terms was you had to bring your own specified towel. And then you would drape said towel once the massage therapy would take place over your penis. You see, I'm going to cap all of you because I know your hands are dirty. You just proved your hands are dirty. The Texans proved their hands are dirty. And those hoes, massage therapists already have proven their hands are dirty, because one of them in a deposition said, quote, when I massaged Mr. Watson, he got erect. I paused, I stopped, but then I continued. Then he got a position and he masturbated. I stopped and just looked. And then in completion, he ejaculated all over my chest and my face. That is when I stopped. Close quote. You see, here's how it goes. I never thought that I would call Deshaun Watson a liar and a hoe. But definitely the hoe part is just and true, because he was like Clarence Carter on that massage table. You know what I'm talking about. We be stroking. That's what we be doing. We be stroking. Stroke it to the east. Stroke it to the west. Be stroking to the massage therapist he loves the best. Oh, he be stroking. Yes, that is the massage therapy addicted Deshaun Watson. And now you will face more punitive damages in terms of what you won't earn from the absolute crap show that you and the Texans have provided all of us. What I really do hope, sincerely, I may add, is that you've learned your lesson. And we've said this on this show. And you woke fools that want to come after me, please. I got the smoke for you, because you're going to bring smoke to me and you're going to come back having no smoke on you, because I'll just snatch all the smoke that you got. Just because Deshaun Watson won't spend a day in jail because he didn't rape anybody in these massage therapies, the massage therapy sessions, it does not mean he wasn't it does not mean that he is sans being complicit of doing something he should not have done. Because when it comes to massage therapies, having your orifice shouldn't be on the table, literally, when it comes to being relieved. But he forgot that. And Deshaun, now you have paid the ultimate price. You put yourself in the game where you wanted to have your itch scratched by a woman, and you saw many pretty women who, through the guise of massage therapy, you could get your rocks off on. And now you have paid, I'm sure it's undisclosed, but I am quite sure you have loaned out millions to these hoes. All you had to do was just go to one of the strip clubs and pull one, or go on one of the streets and get a prostitute. I'm sure police would have looked the other way. Oh, that's Deshaun. Okay, well, all right, we're not gonna bust him for prostitution. Yeah, he's just trying to plow. The jig is up, son. So is your game. And now you got to walk the straight and narrow the rest of your career, if not your life, because the next time you try to do this, you're going to have many of these hoes come after everything you own. Just a little bit is what they got this time. Hoes will get more. But you know that, because you, Mr. Watson, are a liar and a hoe all on your own. Get out this hot seat, making me sick. Six says, in the case of Michael Jackson, there was a non-disclosure clause. Well, in this case, it's also the same. They can't really disclose what all this is either. He also says the settlement of a civil suit is considered admission of guilt. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. No question. He says, shouldn't he be wearing gasoline draws for this? Yes, he should. Yes, Mr. Watson should. Six says, wait a minute. Was the decision out of Mr. Watson's hands? That's really a good question. And it might have been. But again, he put himself in that position. He says, did Watson apologize begrudgingly or faux sincerely? I think he feigned sincerity. If I really have to really think it and listen to it and read what I saw. But the fact he did this and it is deposition record. That's the scary part of it. And finally, Six says there are certain people one should never say I or we want the smoke, because they're looking for a reason to bring the fire. Yeah, they are, but there's any to bring. A quick reset, and it is my time. And my turn. Ugh. Bronsexuals, I got something for you.
In case you bronsexuals don't know by now, LeBron has never been the face of the NBA, although people want to claim he's the face of the NBA. When there's a fellow in Oakland, California that kind of snatched the mantle from Kobe by hitting a three in his face, what impact has LeBron James had on the NBA? I'll answer that for you. Nothing.
Jabroni, Jabroni.
Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning.
As we wrap up hour number 2 of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, I am Cole. As you can see, my partner is on break at the moment. He will rejoin the festivities soon. Here is where I am. So 6 nights ago, we got a chance to witness the Golden State Warriors, the team of LeBron James's dynasty time, be the dynasty of LeBron James's era. So now they have won 4 chips in 8 years, 4 chips in their 6 attempts. But the talk seemingly is, yes, Curry did this, but he needed help to beat LeBron. You idiots.
In a world where partial greatness is celebrated and total greatness is shunned, there stands to be a figure on the lips of those who love him and those who hate him. The inane comparisons to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant continue and has existed since 2003. There is no end in sight, for the battle between those who unconditionally love and unconditionally hate him wages on. These are their stories. Welcome to the Bronsexual Confessions.
So you just simply cannot allow. Now I'm talking to you, Bronsexuals. Yeah. Wipe the happy juice off your mouth. You all just simply cannot allow for somebody to be great, can you? You can't do it. Why do I say that? People have said this about Jordanites and Jordan fans. People have said this about them in regards to LeBron. People said, well, you got these people who are up in arms and so scared about LeBron's possible lineage surpassing Jordan's that they take pot shots at them. I've heard this for many years. Now, I work alongside someone who is a huge Jordan fan. And many would say, well, that's proof right there with him. No, and I've given you a demonstration. I've heard legit hate coming from bronsexuals toward the camp with Stephen Curry. I've not really heard that type of hate. I've heard when it comes to basketball, LeBron just isn't on Jordan's level. But for most people who love Jordan and think about LeBron, that is what they'd say. But that's not what comes out. What comes out is, well, Jordan didn't do anything until Scottie Pippen showed up. Well, let me show you something, bronsexuals. This is where you don't study. You see, the very first series that Jordan won in the NBA playoffs was, of course, during Pippen's rookie season. Jordan averaged 45 points in that series. Do you know how many points Pippen averaged? 10. So you can say, well, he needed Pippen to make Jordan cook. He wasn't Jack until Pippen. Pippen, he wouldn't win any of those chips without Pippen. Now, we wouldn't know. He didn't. But we wouldn't know if he did or didn't. But I know this. The player that Jordan was, he did not need somebody like a Pippen to get the rings. He, and I'm talking about Jordan, needed to trust his teammates. And once he did, That's when the chips happen, because Pippen was a member of that team for 4 years. I'm sorry, yeah, for 4 years before the first ring. So in 88, 89, and 90, Pippen was on the team. They still weren't getting rings. And so I understand the snide comment and the slide way you Bronsexuals want to make it. You want to say, well, yeah, Jordan is all great, but it's because Pippen made him great. Pippen didn't make him great. Jordan was great on his own. Pippen accentuated the greatness, which that is what happens with every great player. All great players need to have other players contribute. I don't care who you are, what era, what position, what time of the year. It doesn't matter. Jordan is fine. But Bronsexuals have said that, man, people are jealous. These Jordan fans are jealous of Bronsexuals. They're jealous of LeBron. They're jealous that he's going to eclipse them. And I'm now seeing this green-eyed monster rear its old ugly, funky head when it comes to Stephen Curry, because I haven't seen so many objections to Curry than I have this last week. Many, one such as, well, LeBron has 4 Finals MVPs. Curry, that funky guy, only has 1. Objections such as, well, he needed Kevin Durant, talking about Curry, to beat LeBron.
Have a Coke and a smile and shut up.
The year was 2015, and LeBron was up on the Warriors 2-1 before he tanked, his team tanked, and Curry, without Durant, led, and I do mean led, although, yes, he did not win Finals MVP, but he averaged 26 points in that series, led the Warriors to winning the chip. Their first chip in 40 years, and their first in the line of 4 in the last 8. So you can say, well, and I've heard this, well, because Kevin Love was gone the whole series and Kyrie Irving got hurt after the first game of 2015's NBA Finals, well, that means that basically that's an asterisk. The Warriors got handed that championship.
You for real?
It's that ridiculousness right there, that you want to dilute whomever shines. And that is what I find ridiculous about you Bronsexuals. Another take. Curry, 9-1 with Durant, and before the finals this year, 8-11 without him. We'll update the record now, because now it is 12-13 without him. And guess what? Curry has won not 1, but 2 championships without Kevin Durant. So all of you saying that Curry should owe Kevin Durant his rings.
Bitch, please.
And then here's the ultimate blasphemy in terms of this. Bronsexual started this ridiculousness. Quote, Andrew Wiggins deserved Finals MVP and not Stephen Curry. Close quote.
Bitch, are you for real? Bitch, are you for real? Bitch, are you for real? Bitch, are you for real?
It's that lunacy right there. And then you all want to clap back at me when I bring forth a take such as, well, Andrew Wiggins, okay, he had 1 great game and 1 solid game in the 6 games that were played. And then the Bronsexual said, wait a minute. No. He had two great games. I said, all right, fine. I'll put it this way. Wiggins had two great games. No, Wiggins had one great game, one solid game, and good overall performance because he was primarily the one to shut down and almost shut off Jason Tatum. But there was not a player in the 2022 NBA Finals that was better than Stephen Curry. The discrediting of Stephen Curry because Bronsexuals are threatened of his legacy is laughable. It's laughable. It's ludicrous. It's stupid. And it's laughable because the stuff that you criticize people who love Jordan, you are actually exercising when it comes to Curry, because now you're actually seeing somebody in LeBron James's era who has won just as many championships as he has. But here's the kicker. Curry has won those 4 championships in less time and with less trips, because it took Yo Kang 10 tries to get 4. It took your greatest nemesis 6. It took Yo Kang 13 between the first time he went to the finals and the last time he got the chip. It took Curry only 8. So you can try to diminish this guy in terms of, well, he only has 1 finals MVP, but my Kang has 4. Whoop-de-freaking-do.
But my king has 6.
Whoop-de-freaking-do. So, okay, fine. You know something? Here is what you all have to understand. Curry, the first player in NBA history to average 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists, to not win the MVP in the finals. And he did it not once, not twice, but 3 times. So does that mean that Mr. Curry, as you all have said, Bronsexuals, come up short and chokes and is an absolute failure in the finals?
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no. Listen.
This is what you all need to really get in your thick, idiotic, semen-leaked skulls. Stephen Curry revolutionized the game on the court. LeBron James influenced the game off of it. No question. But on the court, he changed with the times just like everybody else did because he followed the leader. And the leader during the last 10 years is not LeBron James. The leader is Wardell Stephen Curry II. You want proof? Look how many threes Yo Kang attempted before 2015, and look how many threes Yo Kang attempts now. If he was the leader, his game would evolve, but it wouldn't change like it has. That game has changed. Curry's, it hasn't changed. It's just gotten refined. And one more note. You all are now all up in arms because you were hearkening back to 2016, right? You all are saying, well, LeBron needs to get his 5th chip. And Kyrie, he needs to get some stuff too, right? He needs to get another chip too. He's unhappy in Brooklyn. He's been unhappy in Boston. He wasn't happy in Cleveland, but you all bypassed that. What if we actually have Kyrie and LeBron reunite in LA. Oh, that's going to be a wonderful thing.
Oh, hell no.
That's going to be a wonderful thing. This is why. Because you'll have those two, and then you'll have Anthony Davis, who will be injured at some point during the season, and then you'll have teams who really do not want to have anything to do with Russell Westbrook, and then you'll have more games where he will misfire and he will shoot bricks and he will defend himself and he will call everybody else a hater because he can't accept criticism because he can't hit the broadside of a barn. And then you have Mr. Kyrie Irving, who will do everything possible to screw up the team he's on. That's why I love it. Because somehow, some way, he will gum up those works and you bronsexuals will turn your ire toward his behind. In short, I'm doing what Joe Kang asked all of us to do 10 months ago. Keep talking about my squad, our personnel ages, the way he plays, he stays injured, we're past our time in the league, etc., etc., etc. Please do me one favor, and I mean please. Praying hands emoji. Keep that same narrative energy when it begins. That's all I ask. Hashtag thank you. Crown emoji. You see, bronsexuals, Yo Kang asked for this. Yo Kang asked for you to fire your fiery darts toward Stephen Curry when he claimed on the shop that he wanted to play alongside Curry with the Warriors.
And Curry said, we're good.
I'm good. And 2 months later, he proved that to be true. The Warriors are good without LeBron because he will be the gum in the works with the Warriors, just like Kyrie would be to the Lakers. Unlike my wanting to root for Kyrie to be part of the Lakers, because I want to see that train wreck continue, I do not want to have Yo Kang screw up a good thing going 430 miles north to the best organization in the NBA going today. He doesn't deserve it. He doesn't need it, and the team does not need him to screw up the works there, because guaranteed he will pull the same crap that he's doing now, and he's done it to other teams, where he wants to, quote, hold management's feet to the fire in not signing a long-term extension, close quote. Bottom line, bronsexuals, be happy with the 4 funky championships that LeBron has, and praise someone else who has 4 championships in the same era that LeBron has played in. You see, true champions.
And he's not done.
No, he's not done. You see, true champions big up others who rise to excellence. You all don't want to rise to excellence. You want to fall to your knees, open your mouths, open up your hands, wrap it ever so gently around that black joystick, and play like Clarence Carter. You be stroking to the east, to the west, and to the hoe that you love the best. Get out of my face, you thirsty heifers.
In a world where logic and sense flies completely out the window, while purple and yellow glasses are donned, rises a figure who encourages ridiculous, undying loyalty.
Dedicated to all of his 100 million followers.
Good Lord, I'm about to throw up. This has been yet another installment of The Bronsexual Confessions.
Hour number 3 starts now.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up?
First and 10. Luck steps up, fires towards the end zone. One-handed catch! Mo Alley Cox
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait. Are you kidding me? Do you believe it?
2 down, 1 to go. This is Bronsexual Confessions Wednesday. Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, hour number 3. With Brian Snow, I am Cole Johnson. I just felt good. I had to get that all out of my chest because I just found this last one to be ridiculous.
Which is why I took the extra time.
It was just ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
Mhm.
And before we bring on our guest of honor, Andrew says, well, some of Cole talking about the Deshaun Watson thing. I appreciate that, Andrew. 6 says, Dietz, I got the entire series on PS2 talking about, what was the game that he mentioned? Doggone it. Oh, NFL Street. He says, anyway, you just quoted a game breaker moment. The fire is coming. The fire is coming. The fire is coming. K Peeps, what's up, brother? He says, I see I got here just in time to see the Bronsexual part. Better than coffee. I love it.
Oh, we're not
we
done.
love having you be there. Well, we ain't done because you're going to see one more Bronsexual Confessions coming up soon. In fact, our next guest, which is here, Mr. Dietz, he says 60 at the guard before Pippen, says much differently, talking about when Bronsexuals go at Jordanites in saying that, well, Jordan didn't do jack before Pippen. And that is proof. The 63 at the Garden in 86. That was one full year before he was drafted by the Sonics before he was traded to the Bulls. Yes, sir.
May I please invoke Jim Durham?
Please.
May I please invoke Jim Durham? I believe the call went like this on WMAQ. Michael on the drive across the lane, turnaround shot. Got it. 63 for Jordan. The game is tied at 131 with 110 left. A new NBA record has been set in Vanguard by an all-time great. I don't care if he's only played a year and change. He ranks right up there with the all-timers.
That's what makes it so amazing. Only played 17 games in the second season, and it was a restricted minutes in the second season. And he puts that up in the playoffs. But I can go on and extol the virtues of Michael Jordan the rest of this time. I digress. 6 says the NBA playoffs are a war of attrition, period. Thank you. And that's what these Bronsexuals do not understand, sick. They give LeBron such excuses. And they just understand it's like you play with the hands dealt. And if someone on your team is injured, so be it. It sucks, yes. But the show goes on, and you better hope your team can pick it up. And if they can't, they weren't good enough. It's just that simple. And I got laughed at when I said that about my 2018 Rockets. I was like, look, Chris Paul was the reason why they were up 3-2. You know, I never said that they would have won that series if Chris Paul went the rest of the season. No, never. Because that hamstring wasn't good enough, and so wasn't the Rockets. It's just that simple. 6 says the Warriors' success holds a mirror to the NBA, and Bronsexuals would rather break the mirror than accept what is reflected back at them. Yeah, I agree, sick. And this is dedicated to you. Basically, Bronsexuals are of this camp. You know, as I really believe they really have a difficulty accepting these things. Mr. Nicholson, sir, I'm having a hard time understanding these fools. Is there something they can't accept?
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. They simply can't handle the truth. 6 says it's called cognitive dissonance. They're scrabbling to clutch at anything than admit the truth. And I agree, sir. You're absolutely correct. He says, can the 76ers and James Harden, since James Harden the Lakers as well, I would love that train wreck to happen. Yes, I would love that too. And 6 says to be a bull in a China shop requires athleticism, physicality, and an intimidating presence. Has anybody ever been intimidated by LeBron James?
No.
Yeah, there has been, but they're called Bronsexuals. It is so good to get that off my chest, but it's going to be even better to hear what our next guest has up in store, because he has a summer of greatness and He has a Bronsexual Confessions take to get off on his own. Ladies and gentlemen, I would love to say he's a friend of the show, but no, that's insulting him. Our brother, our family member is about to join us now. You've seen him in the chat. You're about to see him now. The one, the only, Christopher Dietz. How are you, sir?
Hey, Cole. How you doing? Hey, Snowman.
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
Hey, what's up, Dietz?
All right.
What's on your mind, bro?
You know why you brought me on. Where do you want to start?
You know,
where do you want to look first?
The Bronsexual Confession.
You want him to? You want to cook there first?
I want him to do the Bronsexual Confession. I got to step out. Let's give Dietz the floor.
No problem. Perfect. No problem. Because we're about to roast these fools again.
In a world where partial greatness is celebrated and total greatness is shunned, there stands to be a figure on the lips of those who love him and those who hate him. The inane comparisons to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant continue and has existed since 2003. There is no end in sight, for the battle between those who unconditionally love and unconditionally hate him wages on. These are their stories. Welcome to the Bronsexual Confessions.
Bronsexual Confessions Part 3, and with more, Mr. Dietz, cook.
All right. So I was perusing the internet and I came across a Facebook post which the caption of it started with LeBron greater than sign MJ. So I said, all right, let me see what this is about.
Oh, Lord.
It was a picture, one side Michael, one side LeBron. The reasoning for LeBron being better than Michael was, and they listed underneath, playoff wins versus teams with a better record. And they had LeBron's list, and it was long, and they had Jordan's list, which was significantly shorter.
Of course.
And so I engaged this individual, and I decided I tried to think of it as maybe he just hit the wrong maybe he just hit the wrong sign, and instead of putting greater than, he put less than. And so I was giving him the benefit of the doubt by saying, is this real or did you make a mistake? And he said, and he came back and said, no, it's no mistake. Everything is right. And I said, everything is right except for your conclusion. What I said, do you even understand the context of what this says? This sole point tells you why MJ is better than LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
First off, the context of this is LeBron has had and been on terrible regular season teams. Michael Jordan was not. And then we got into a back and forth about how important the regular season is. And it went back and forth a little bit. And then I finally said, guy, do you understand? 91, Bulls were the best team. 92, the Bulls were the best team in the Eastern Conference. 93, the Bulls were the best team in the Eastern Conference. 94 and 95 was baseball. 96, when Jordan came back, they had the best record in the Eastern Conference. 97, they were the best team to ever play basketball. They had the best record in the entire NBA up to that point. So yes, Jordan was never going to play a team with a better record because they had the best record. And so he continued to get on his, well, it just goes to show you that Jordan couldn't beat teams better than him. And I said, neither does LeBron. He doesn't beat teams better than him either. He just slacks off during the regular season. And I tried to tell this, and I didn't like want to get into it, but I just wanted to impress on this person. I don't know if you know who Michael Jordan is. Michael Jordan played Game 6 of the NBA Finals the same way he played a Wednesday night in Milwaukee.
Yep.
He did not care whether it was the NBA Finals or that Wednesday in Milwaukee when no one cares. He wanted to win every single game. He did not want to lose.
Yep.
So he did not have he was not going to play a worse team. He was not going to have a chance to play against a worse record because they took the regular season seriously. And that is the greatness of Michael Jordan. It says how great Michael is and how LeBron is not as great. And the thing about bronsexuals is that they just once you corner them into an argument, once you corner them, they just stop. And he just stopped. And I had like 5 more posts of reasons why the picture he posted is not a slam on Jordan. It is a slam against LeBron. And there was nothing else from that. Because once they're beaten, they give up. And that was it. I couldn't believe what I was reading. I was like, are you kidding me? You're going to tell me one guy's better because he beat teams with a better record. Well, that just says LeBron didn't play the regular season correctly. So that was my bronsexual confession.
In a world where logic and sense flies completely out the window, while purple and yellow glasses are donned, rises a figure who encourages ridiculous, undying loyalty.
He changed lives?
Good Lord, I'm about to throw up. This has been yet another installment of the Bronsexual Confessions.
All right, we will take a break, and when we come back, more with one Christopher Dietz. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. We'll be right back after this.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
You're so right for me, and I'm right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go, babe. I'm never gonna let you go. No, never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Well, you can, Dr. K, do so on Official SIT Morn. That's Official SIT Morn. That is how you can navigate and negotiate the Instagram thing or the Twitter thing. At the half-hour point of hour number 3 of Snowman in the Morning, with the Snowman who is away for a moment, I am Cole Johnson. We are joined by our guest, Chris Dietz, our brother, and he is in the midst of the summer of greatness. So, sir, well, before I get to that, my apologies to you and my condolences to you for your Celtics not winning the championship this year, but it was a wonderful year for them.
It was, and I don't take any light to it because I called it. I said Warriors in 6, so the Warriors won in 6. So I can take solace in being right rather than my team winning.
Yeah. I'm that way too. Yeah, if I could see something as what I believe it to be and it comes out that way, I'm like, yeah, I saw it come out that way. But
and it wasn't like the It wasn't like the Celtics got blown out of the water or anything. No. The Celtics gave it a fight, and they didn't have the horses. I mean, they didn't have Jordan Poole coming off the bench. They had Derek White. That's that's the story of the game.
True. But I'm not here to rub any noses in any faces. But yeah, I will tip the cap to your Celtics and say you had a wonderful season, and your future is absolutely bright. Summer of greatness. So what is on tap this week, sir?
So this week we have greatest cartoon shows of all time.
Greatest cartoon shows. Okay.
As there's as much as I love sports, there's nothing I love more than cartoons. I pretty much, if I'm not watching sports, I'm watching cartoons. So that's where we're going. Before I get into that, I want to go back to not last week, because obviously I took off Thursday to watch Game 6. So
right.
And if I was on the air during that 22-0 run, it would not have been able to be aired anywhere because of the terminology I was using at the time. But yeah, so the last one we did, if you remember, was greatest NBA player of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting the way this tournament worked out. It was very interesting, and it proves the point of why we do this. And one of the main points, I'll spoil the ending for you. Kareem did navigate the tournament, and Kareem did claim the championship.
All right.
But it was what happened to lead up to that moment is why we do the tournament this way and why it's so much fun. And that is, we just talked about, in my Bronsexual Confessions, we talked about how great Jordan is. And in any one of these types of tournaments, you should be able to just pencil Jordan all the way through. However, Michael Jeffrey Jordan in our tournament got bounced in the first round. And the way he got bounced is he ran up against Tim Duncan. And the way we do it is we do it with categories, and you have to win that category. Well, it was Duncan versus Jordan. Probably any category Jordan wins, except for one. And they happened to pull it out of the bag. It was most fundamental. I mean, Tim Duncan's nickname was the Big Fundamental. There's one category that Jordan and that's why we do the tournament this way. We set it up so that everyone has a chance if they hit their category. It just so happens it happened to be on Jordan. And that's why the tournament's so much fun, is the one you think is going to run the table. Sometimes they run into trouble. Same thing happened on the other side of the bracket that we were talking about. That guy we were talking about, so Bronsexuals, you should be happy. LeBron actually made the Final Four, which shocked me. It shocked me, but it didn't, because he did it in typical LeBron fashion. He got the easiest bracket and he worked his way through until he ran into a bigger body, and he was able to rumble his way through and then get beat by Kareem. And then Kareem went on to the finals, and the final was Kareem and Kobe. And it was interesting because those were both the guys that I thought at the beginning. Those were the guys I thought on both sides of the bracket. If they get through, it's going to be a massive, and it ended up being, and I just want to see if I actually nailed this right. The category for the championship was the better passer. And I went Kareem, because I don't really remember Kobe passing that much.
Kobe only passed when he was challenged to do so. He knew how to be an assist guy. He just chose not to be most of the time because he chose to be a volume scorer. Kareem's but you're correct from this angle on this aspect. Of the two players, which one was more unselfish? To a degree, both were unselfish. Kobe is more unselfish than people really give him credit for being. But Kareem was more unselfish. He was the guy that would be able to flow better with the talent that was around him than Kobe did, because it took Kobe a good while after Shaq left the scene to really become not necessarily the leader of the team, because he was the leader of the team, but the leader of the team that others would be inspired to play around. Because it took him really 5 years for him to really be that guy. With Kareem, people wanted to play with him because they knew he would draw double teams almost every time he would get the ball, but he was willing to kick the ball out, because the inside out game, it really was birthed with a player like Kareem. So yes, I agree with you. The better passer, to me, the more willing passer is Kareem.
All right, so that explains that, and that's why we had Kareem as our. He will go on to our champions tour. He was our NBA champion, our greatest NBAer of all time. So, I was happy the way it worked out, and we had another interesting event happen during our tournament, our NBA tournament. we actually got a phone caller in the middle of the tournament, and boy, were they were mad at me for excluding some guys, and I don't blame them. But we actually had a call from Joe Montana, not that Joe Montana, just Joe from Montana.
Oh no!
But we got a call, and we had an interesting discussion, and I want to get your opinion on what we're. So he decided to do the tournament a little bit differently. He said, "All right, we'll draft a team, and we'll see whose team is better." And I'm pretty sure my team would have rocked his, but I want to get your opinion out as an outsider. On the teams.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get your opinion and whose team you think would win. So my team was Jordan, Steph, LeBron, Kareem, and Duncan. Those were my 5. His 5 were Iverson, Magic, Bird, Wilt, and Kevin Durant. When I look at those teams, my team's going to outscore them. I have the top 4 scorers in NBA history on my team. The problem will be, can we play defense? And I'm hoping Duncan and Kareem could do that. But what do you think, Cole?
Yeah, defensively, that's the strategy you'll have to play. It would be that you would hope and pray that the perimeter doesn't get hot. Because if it does, then that's probably where you'd be in trouble. But if not, yeah, defensively, I would funnel them toward the paint, and I would have Duncan and Kareem swat everything that was coming in their direction. Yeah, in terms of scoring, you actually have the right mix to actually have a pretty fluid offense. I think your team would win. Because I mean, look, I have profound respect for Iverson, for Dirk, but to me, Steph, Jordan, and Kareem, yeah, you can't go wrong to me.
Yeah, I thought my third pick of Steph Curry is what put my team over the top, and we were just talking about how great Steph is. That's what put my team. I was like, yeah. You got Bird. I need a shooter. Oh wait, I'll take the best shooter of all time. Yeah, I got an open spot. I'll take it. So it was just an interesting phone call that we had, and again. These are the types of things that happen on Fifth Down Sports Show. When we do these things, we didn't plan on this guy calling. He just called up out of the blue, Joe from Montana, and we got into it. And he was mad at me because I didn't put Wilt in the tournament, which I did. It was funny because right as he called, I was in the middle of saying I totally forgot to put Wilt on this list, and he should be on the list. So. Knowing this for the future, probably when we do the Summer of Greatness next year, I guarantee you Wilt Chamberlain will be in the NBA greatness conversation. But that again, it was. I thought we had a good mix. I thought we had a good list. And the way the tournament worked out, it was just fun, especially when I saw Jordan get knocked out. Once Jordan got knocked out, I was like, oh, now it's wide open. Now it's wide open. Anybody could take this. Mm-hmm. And it just worked out. So
good.
So I want to before I do anything with my cartoons, mm-hmm. I want to dive into something because on Monday's show, I know you weren't here.
Right.
But Snowman and I were talking about the topic you just presented to us before I came on with Deshaun Watson. All right. And while I I believe everything you said about Deshaun is true. He did something stupid. He was being dumb. What really gets me about Deshaun Watson, and I'm glad you said it when you prefaced it, but what really gets me about Deshaun Watson is no one is talking about the Texans' role in this debacle.
No one.
Because if you're sitting there and you're telling me, well, we're going to suspend Deshaun Watson because he violated the personal conduct policy, what's the conduct of the organization? How did they not know this was going on? How did they not know 26 women were being accosted by this guy? How did they not know?
Because that too is kind of detrimental to the league.
Yeah, exactly. How is that not detrimental? And I use this argument on Monday, and I'm going to keep using it. When we went back, I'm a college football guy. When we went to the Ohio State controversy with the spousal abuse,
good Lord.
The reason Urban Meyer was suspended was not because he did anything wrong. It was because he should have known and he didn't know. And he should have.
Mm-hmm.
And that was why Urban Meyer was reprimanded. If you can't reprimand, if the Texans didn't know, they should have. If they did know and they covered it up, that's even worse. And that, to me, is the biggest issue of this, is what did the Texans know? When did they know it? How did they know it? And what did they do about it? Because you referenced the quotes from Deshaun Watson. Well, there are quotes from a New York Times piece that I read that said there was a letterhead sent to all masseuses from the Houston Texans security officer about a disclosure agreement. Well, if that's coming from the head of security at the Houston Texans, how do the Houston Texans not know anything's going on?
Yeah.
A plus B does not equal C here.
Strongly worded NDA from the club. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So then we got to talking, and we got to talking about about the suspension that's coming up. And everything I've read about this says lengthy suspension is on the way. And this is why I asked the question in the chat before. Do you want to, and the NFL is about to step in a pile of you-know-what, no matter what they do. Because on the one hand, if you punish Deshaun Watson really hard, I'm going to get into why that's a problem. And if you go too lenient on him, you're going to be accused of you don't like women, you're misogynist. So it's either A, be misogynist, or B, be racial. And why would it be racial? I go to this. And I want to get the date absolutely correct because I have it up here. It doesn't have, yeah. In 2010, a quarterback for the National Football League that happened to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers was not criminally charged, was brought to civil court and lost that.
Right.
And then was brought in another case that fell apart because the victim did not want to go through she did not want to go back and relive it. She just wanted it to be done.
Right.
So this quarterback was given a suspension by the NFL for, and I quote, he was suspended for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, isn't that the same thing we're talking about with Deshaun Watson?
Exact same thing.
Okay.
Before you continue, one of the things I've loved about this argument is that they will bring up said quarterback of said NFL team, and they would say, well, I know they're going to try to punish, they're probably going to try to punish Deshaun really harshly, but they didn't do that to this guy. And I'm like, yes, they did.
Well, Big Ben received a grand total of 6-game suspension.
Yeah, 6 games.
A 6-game suspension, which was arbitrated down to 4 games.
That's right.
But the league proposed 6 games.
Right.
So, with that in mind, how are you going to suspend Deshaun Watson for anything more than 6 games? The only difference in this case is the one thing that I just said. It happens to be the color of skin on the quarterback.
Here's how they can get away with it being stiffer and it not be the skin color. If they were to say the number of women, if they can say that and lean on that, then possibly they can get away with this saying, well, we can make this penalty a little stiffer because, with Ben Roethlisberger, it was, a couple of women. With Deshaun's 26, 24 currently, but 2 more have stepped up to want to sue him too.
And to that end, you would have to explain to me to what Ben Roethlisberger did, and Ben Roethlisberger came out and he apologized and he went to counseling and he ate everything. He
did.
He said he admitted to it.
Yeah, he owned it all. Yeah,
he owned up to it, and what he owned up to is inappropriate sexual encounters with these women.
Yes, sir.
We're not hearing that language with Deshaun Watson.
Not one bit.
So now we drive this story into the morality realm of what's worse, and that's something you have to, you and I and anybody. That's something anybody who's in on this, they have to make that judgment for themselves. Right. What's worse? And to me, what Ben Roethlisberger did is 100 times worse than what I've read Deshaun Watson's accused of, unless there's another smoking gun there. Because what I'm hearing, and I told Snowman on Monday, and I'm gonna tell the viewers now. Look, I'm working on it on Fifth Down Sports Show. I have one of my best friends runs a center for sexual abuse, and I'm going to try to get her to explain the differences to me and explain all the terminology, because I don't understand any of it and I can't break it down. But as I read these stories, it was Deshaun Watson touching himself, Deshaun Watson asking for help in that department. He was not forcibly putting himself on other people the way we know Big Ben did. So to me, if the commissioner comes out and says, well, because it's 24 women, we're going to go longer than the 6 games, you're going to have to explain to me why that trumps what you've previously done. And that's why I say in this, he has to make a decision. Either he wants to be a misogynist or a racist. And if he comes down harshly on Deshaun Watson, it's going to open a huge can of worms.
He'll be considered a racist, yes.
That he does not want, and the NFL doesn't want. So if I'm him, I'm coming down on the lighter side, because you can make up for that. You can make up that damage. Once the racial card is dealt, there's no coming back from that. Yeah. I don't care what the NFL does. Roger Goodell, if that card gets played and he doesn't have an answer, he's smoked.
Mm-hmm. Sick. This is a good point here. He says, if y'all want an example of racial bias by league, how about Josh Brown compared to Ray Rice? Now, for those who don't know each cases, well, Ray Rice, of course, we saw a video of him dragging his then fiance, now wife, current wife actually, out of a casino elevator, and got suspended for 2 games for it. But then footage got leaked later as he actually gave his fiance a nasty left hook and knocked her completely out, which then they retroactively punished him some more. And of course, that raised eyebrows and created outrage. Josh Brown, he basically was, I guess you could say, a sexual predator. He assaulted a woman in college. It was a kicker for the Giants, I believe, for most of his career. Played his career, did not get charged with jack. And when those charges came back to bite him, he called it quits before he got suspended. And it's just messed up how you have those examples of that. So yeah, I totally get where you're coming from, because Goodell is going to have to actually weigh. All right, so which camp do I want to upset more or upset less? And that's sort of messed up. It's okay. I don't think I want to upset black people, or I don't want to upset women.
If I'm Goodell, I told you I'm going on the lighter side of this suspension, and I'm going to base it on, well, I gave Roethlisberger 6, and to me, the vast number of this may be better, may be greater, but the actions are definitely not up to Big Ben. So I would go 4 games, and it would probably get mitigated down to 3 games. And then we move on, and we're moving on. And the reason I would give him 4 games is I give Deshaun 2 games for what happened, and then I'd give him 2 more just because of the sheer stupidity of all of this.
Agreed.
Just to say, you're an idiot. You did something stupid. That's why you're missing 4 games.
I think Deshaun would love you. He'd probably kiss you for that. I don't think he's getting that. I personally believe it's probably going to be this. You got the Shield contacted the NFLPA, and they're probably going to ask them, all right, we're going to come down with this type of suspension. If you all do appeal it, what are your terms? So that we will say, cool, no problem. We will accept whatever terms you want. And the terms have to be acceptable to us now. And they would come with that number. And then they would say, all right, this is how it's going to play out. We'll throw the suspension. You put your appeal. We'll give it some time. And then we'll do a press release saying, okay, Deshaun Watson is going to serve this time. In my opinion, this is how it's going to go down. I think the league is going to try for 2 years. They're going to try for a 2-year suspension. I think they're going to release that out. The NFLPA is going to appeal it, and then they bring that down from 2 years to 1. I really believe that's what's going to happen. I really they want him to suspend him for a full year. For the exact reason of people are going to think, well, he did all this stuff and he got away with it for a full year.
Which has been my contention since this whole thing started.
And if that happens, and we put the guys on, we put them on blast on Monday. I'm going to put them on blast again. If guys like Mike Florio are not calling the commissioner's office and saying, why are you punishing a black quarterback less than you did a white quarterback? If that question is not asked by some media member, all hell's going to break loose. All hell's going to break loose, and I'll be right there at the front of it, because that's ridiculous.
And then on top of it, people have been got on Roger Goodell too, on basically being light on some of these suspensions, and they'd say, okay, you need to be a heavier hand on this. And so he has all of this in his mind, and And of course, he has that. Well, the league is misogynist, and they want to prove that they're not misogynistic, just like they don't want to prove they'd be racist too. They want to prove they're not misogynistic as well, and that's where the issue of all of this comes to play, and it's so messed up that you can. And I love how you phrased this, and I loved how you framed this. You had a quarterback who basically admitted to rape, but only served 3 games for a suspension. A guy who didn't rape, but just was being sexually inappropriate to many different people, possibly could get more time. I think you're about to brace yourself, and you're about to be one of those media people who's going to ask that question, man. I really believe that.
I do too, and I really and all he has to do is have something ready. He better have something ready to explain what the difference is, because I don't get it. I don't get it, and he'll have to say, well, this is different because of X, Y, and Z, and I'll have to say, okay, well, that's how you. I mean, we talked about it on Monday. This whole case comes down to your personal morality.
Well put.
Because I've said it.
Well put.
If any one of these, and I said it when the number was at 6. It's at 26 now.
Right.
I said it when it was at 6. If any one of these cases has merit, Deshaun Watson's a monster. I'm in no way saying, hey, Deshaun Watson's a great guy, let him play. No. What I'm saying is be fair. Be fair with your punishment. You can't punish one guy for one thing and punish another guy and say, well, we're just acting. We're acting in the best interest, because you're not. And like I said, it's a lose-lose situation for Goodell.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever he does is going to get scrutinized no matter what.
Oh yeah. No question it's going to be. It's going to be with a fine-tooth comb scrutinized. But yeah, I totally agree with you. But I really do believe in this situation, this case, I think the NFL is going to be very heavy-handed. I really believe it. Sucks, but I think that's what's going to happen.
And to that point, if he comes down on Deshaun Watson the way you described it, and the way I think it's going to happen, the way Snowman thinks it's going to happen, if he comes down with that punishment, the very next question, if I'm in that room, is going to be, okay, you punished Deshaun Watson. What happens to the Texans now?
Mm-hmm.
And it all comes down to the wording of the punishment, because if they, like I said, if they punish Deshaun for personal conduct policy, well, what's the conduct of the team?
Yeah.
What's their role in this?
And it's not, and it's not as though they're unafraid to punish teams, or they haven't done it before. I mean, they punished owners. I mean, they punished Robert Kraft when he decided to proposition a prostitute, and it turned out to be a undercover police officer. So they punished owners, they punished teams. So it's not above the National Football League to punish teams. And in this instance, you have proof that a team enabled a guy to do some inappropriate stuff, and they knew inappropriate stuff was happening. And then on top of that, the representation of those who want to sue the guy is best friends with the owner of the team. There has to be some type of culpability from the Texans, and there has to be some type of punishment laid down by the Shield too. If Deshaun gets punished and the Texans get off scot-free and clean, foul. And I root for the team. I'm saying this as a Texans fan. The Texans need to either have a pig stripped, or a fine, or a combination of both. Something needs to punitively happen to the Texans because that should not go on.
See, when I say something should happen to the Texans, what we're really talking about is the ownership. The ownership.
I've been on the Cal McNair needs to go train.
They need to be held accountable for this. Mm-hmm. And they cannot sit there and claim, well, we didn't know anything was going on.
Right.
You didn't know anything was going on with your quarterback. And again, I've brought this up, but it's on record. NFL teams know everything about everybody that's going on.
Especially your highest paid player.
They knew Dez Bryant. They knew Dez Bryant's mom was a sex worker, and they questioned him about it.
Right.
If you're telling me NFL teams can learn that, but they can't learn their starting quarterback is seeing 17, 20, now 26 different is having 26 different massages.
And had more. Had more that did not come forth. And
this
was a blessed experience. Yeah.
You can't tell me they didn't know. You can't tell me that they didn't know. And if they didn't know, we used the term on Monday, gross negligence. That alone should be, all right, you guys, we need to do something. There needs to be fines paid. There needs to be something to the team because as I said, taking draft picks from the team, that does nothing to alleviate the situation. That does nothing to punish that all that does is punish people who aren't, that takes a spot away from somebody on draft day. Like I cherish the draft. Don't mess with the draft. If you're gonna punish them where the owner hurts monetarily, or do something crazy. Like, hey, you know what? You guys are now the new Jacksonville Jaguars, where you have to go play in London every year. Mm. Like do something creative to where it punishes the ownership, but not the people, but not the players on the team, not the coach, not those people, because this all goes back to the ownership. The ownership and the front office, they dropped the ball on this.
All right.
And
so
who knows that I believe, just like you said, I believe not only did they drop the ball, but they kicked it over to their neighbor's house and said, hey, you run with it.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I believe.
And that trail has to be somewhere.
How you said that is how I would want it to go down. I don't want them to take picks, but I can see them doing it. What I want to see is either you find this guy a great amount of money, and I don't mean $1 million, I mean make it really hurt, or you're doing to him, to Cal McNair, like you're trying to do, but you're doing it in a much slower fashion to Daniel Snyder. And so the NFL seems to not be gung-ho about wanting to get rid of poisonous owners. They're reticent about doing it. But I really believe Cal McNair is a poisonous owner. He needs to get out of here. And and how you said it, I want that. I'm rooting for that. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm rooting for that.
But we all know at the end of the day, Roger Goodell's paycheck still has it still has Cal McNair's name on it, because the owners are the ones who pay Roger Goodell to deal with this crap.
Yep. They are the puppeteers. Mr. Goodell's the puppet. Correct.
So
that's how it works.
So I would love to see what comes out of this, and they haven't even said anything. Like one of the articles I read said, "Oh, there's an independent investigation," but they didn't name who was doing. They didn't name anybody involved, and it's like, oh, so they're gonna have a puppet investigation, and they're gonna say, Well, the team doesn't get anything. If that happens, I'll tell you right now on my show, all hell's going to break loose. Because I'm going gung ho on this. I blame the Texans more than I blame Deshaun Watson, and Deshaun Watson deserves everything he gets, because he put himself in a stupid position.
Thank you for saying all of that. I have been saying this almost from Jump Street. The only thing I haven't been saying is that Deshaun Watson basically is a liar and a hoe because I didn't believe he was that. I believe he was innocent, that he didn't do these things. I really believed it. But now I'm seeing that, well, it looks like he has. So I'm going to have to change up what I think. But beyond that, yeah, that's exactly what I believe.
With your news break that you dropped that he's settling, I would love to see why all of a sudden that happened. And what was it? And this is just my speculation, but could it have been a meeting with the NFL and saying, hey, we need all this to get out of the way, get this done as quick as possible, and them, because all the reports I had were, if this goes to a lawsuit, it's not going to happen until after the season.
Right. Yeah, it was. Yeah, they said that they actually said that more than likely that the first set of trials were slated to be probably as late as the spring of next year, and that's when it was going to begin. So I was like, wow. So we'll probably be looking at another year where the jury's going to be still out on if he's going to miss time. Okay, interesting.
So I'm wondering. So that's why the wheels are turning in my head. Like maybe the NFL office got to the Deshaun Watson and his group and said, maybe, hey, settle these cases, get them out of the way, so we can start your punishment, whatever it's going to be, so it can start. Because otherwise, we can't do anything until these are done.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, obviously they're going to try to settle them because they don't want to go to, they don't want to go to court. Nobody wants to go to court.
No.
Court's the worst place anybody can be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, if it all went to court and it all got dismissed and he didn't settle, I think Deshaun would have been suspended very lightly. And when I mean lightly, I mean maybe 2 games. They would probably say, and it may have been litigated down to 1, or arbitratively reduced to 1. I could have seen it if that would have been the case. But the settling of that many lawsuits, yeah, you're going to have a lot of people who are going to want to call for him to not be on the field for a minute. And then you have the jealousy of the owners looking at this guy. And of course, it always comes back to money. He's getting paid 5 years. He's getting paid $230 million. All of it is guaranteed. And so, most of these owners, and not all of them who are not Jimmy Haslam, are saying, we do not want to see this guy on the field. So Shield, do whatever you can to have this guy off the field for as long as you can possibly make it. Messed up as it is, that also weighs in the decision of how long Mr. Watson is going to be suspended.
And that is like that is cutting your nose to spite your face.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Deshaun Watson, when he steps on, I mean, I said this the other day, like suspending him for games is like we forget he's there. No, we're not going to forget that he's there.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care if he plays like I said to Snowman. Look, the suspension, suspend him as far as like fining him and his game checks. Like, yeah, he plays for free. Like, make him play. I mean, The running joke I have about this is we call this a gladiator sport all the time. Make it a true gladiator sport.
Exactly.
Hey, Deshaun Watson, you're going out there and you're playing, but you don't get paid. Your check is going to go to whatever charity they decide to dump it into. But your game checks don't count, but you still play, and you can't get out of it. Like unless you get absolutely, have an absolute horrible injury. Otherwise, you have to play. Everybody always says football's a gladiator sport. Well, that's what they used to do in gladiator times. If they wanted to punish somebody, they made them go out and fight it out.
Yeah, we're not going to see that though.
Because I wouldn't, and not that I want to see him go out and get hurt, but I would just say go out, play the game, and because I'm not going to forget that Deshaun Watson exists. Like, if he's suspended for 5 games, if he's suspended for a year, that game he comes back, I guarantee you there's going to be more media at that game than there's going to be at any other game.
Oh, no question. And it doesn't even be a regular season game. It could be a preseason game. That's what's going to happen.
And that also plays into it with me is if you suspend him, if you're Roger Goodell and you're thinking about all this stuff and you want to suspend him for a whole year, when he comes back next year, it's just going to tarnish whatever's going on. If you suspend him for 6 games and he comes back in the middle of this season, people are going to be talking about everything else that happens in those 6 games leading up to that Deshaun Watson returning might be like, it'll be one of the top stories, but it'll be one of. If Deshaun Watson's suspended for a whole year and he comes back game 1 of next year, the story's going to be, we haven't seen Deshaun Watson in a year, and everything kicks up again. So you might be able to fly this under the radar if you let him back at some point during this year, just by the fact of everything else that goes on in football. We know the stories change from week to week.
Right.
I mean, in the NFL. So if there's a 6-0 team at the time he comes back, they're going to be talking about that more than they're going to be talking about, whatever the Browns are doing.
That might actually be beneficial to how they should suspend him if that's the case, because it would sort of fly on the radar. Although you will still, just like what Michael Vick did when he got out of jail, you're still going to have people who are going to line up around the block protesting that Deshaun is a sexual predator. You're going to have that. You're going to have that at every game that Cleveland plays, whether it's at home or on the road. So you still have that. But here's, I think, one thing that I think people also like too. People like redemption stories. So I agree with you in saying that if Deshaun's suspended for a year and he comes back in 2023, he'll basically be the top story, probably starting OTAs. And then basically around this time next year. And then people will ask, well, we saw how the Browns were last year without him. How will he be this year with them? And I can picture that to be also something that Goodell would probably sell to Deshaun. I could see them doing that. But in terms of publicity, in terms of having this be a big thing, I agree with you there. And it'd probably be better if they do suspend him 6 games, and then many people will be, more people than not, will be caught up in, oh yeah, so the Chiefs are doing what they're doing. Wow. Tyreek is actually doing some wonderful things in Miami. Wow. Okay. So Lamar Jackson is learning to play behind the pocket. We'll be talking about other things other than, okay, so Deshaun is out how long? Or this next person is actually going to sue him. How long are we going to talk about Deshaun Watson not playing, or Deshaun Watson being sexually forward to massage therapists? The narrative would have to change. So if you have them slip under the radar a bit, then yeah, you'll have people talk more about what the action's doing on the field, which that really is what the NFL wants to do more than anything. I do agree there.
And I like that you brought up, how he's going to be perceived, because that's why I said I want to have my friend Jenny on to explain to me exactly what the difference is between harassment and assault. Because what I've seen from the Deshaun Watson, the transcripts of his grand jury, what I've seen from the transcripts doesn't tell me assault. Assault to me is when you put it on, when your actions affect someone else.
Right.
And from what I've seen, it's been the language is absolutely abhorrent.
Of course.
The request is absolutely abhorrent. I mean, I was thinking about this, on my way in here. I was a football player in college.
Right.
I had a groin injury. I know how massively ineffective that. I know how much that hurts. I lost 2 weeks of my career just because I had a pulled groin. So I understand, like, all right, I want, you wanting to get that area taken care of. I understand that.
Understood.
There's a difference between somebody saying, hey, groin and member are two totally different areas. So the asking of that is absolutely ridiculous. You wouldn't ask anyone of that. So again, Deshaun Watson did stupid things, which is really what the suspension. It shouldn't say. It shouldn't say he broke our conduct policy. It should be he did something stupid. It should be a stupid suspension. You did something really stupid,
and this is your stupid punishment. Yeah.
Yes, and this is
your punishment for being stupid. Yeah.
So again, the terminology though. You read everything you read about Deshaun Watson is he sexually assaulted people.
Yeah, that's not what I've gotten.
It doesn't reach that level. But again, I'm going to have an expert explain it to me because I don't get it. I just it doesn't reach that level, but in the academic term, it might. I'm not an expert at that.
Yeah.
But to me, assault is what Ben Roethlisberger did. What Deshaun did, I could see it as harassment.
Yeah, I can see it as harassment
but
too.
I can't see it as assault. And I can't put him in that category. And from the things I read, I mean, what he said, yes, it's morally abhorrent. And anyone in their right mind reading it would go, why would you say something like that in public? You're an idiot.
Right.
Any one person would say, if Deshaun told this story to me, I would say, you're an idiot. Why did you even ask that? Why would you even ask someone for that? Like that, but you know what? We see worse than that on cable TV.
Yeah, we do. So
can I really get on a guy for doing that? I've seen worse. I've seen worse than what he did. So I'm not going to sit here and try to make him out to be the biggest, the biggest monster ever to walk the earth.
Oh no, he's not.
Still, he did something stupid, and we have to deal with his stupidity. And that's kind of why the league needs to suspend him. Is like, you made us deal with this. You made us deal with this, so you have to suffer some bit.
Right. It's like my friend Terry Little says, and I shout at you out by name, sir. He says, yeah, you do stupid things, you win stupid prizes. Deshaun did a stupid thing, and the stupid price he's going to win is not being able to play the game that he so loves because he decided to do something stupid. Yeah. All right, here's the thing that I have to really say about Deshaun, and I agree with you. I don't think he's a predator. I don't think he. I personally don't think he sexually assaulted anybody either. But I just know within my gut that he's getting probably a lot of Tom Goodell is getting a lot of talk from a lot of people saying that you must set an example. You must use him as an example. Forget the race thing. You must use us as an example. And I loved how you talked about Ben Roethlisberger, how light in the suspension department that was for him, and he actually admitted to raping somebody or sexually assaulting somebody. I'm sorry. And that's something that Deshaun did not do. He didn't sexually assault anybody, or so we know thus far. Now, he has been sexually forward, and he did do sexual misconduct things, and that is a matter of deposition record. What I am interested in seeing is, does Goodell want to set the example, or will he have Ben Roethlisberger in his mind and say, okay, well, I only suspended him 4 games. All right, I'll suspend Deshaun 3. That would be interesting if he thinks that way and decides that. I don't think he will, but it would be interesting if he does. And as I said, Deshaun would kiss you if he gets 4. If he gets 6 and he gets appealed down to 4, he would love that. That would be his best of the worst case scenarios that he would pray for to happen. Now, will it? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just reading Sick Diggy's latest comment on the blog, and I just want to see where he's going with this. These women, I don't know anything about them. All I know is what was said in the grand jury, and their motives for this. I would love to have a one-on-one interview where they just get to go, and I would give them the floor on my show. I'd give them all 2 hours of my show and say, hey, say whatever you want. Why did you do that? What happened? Explain it to me in detail, because it sounds ludicrous to me. This whole situation just sounds like, I don't know. I've had massages before. I've never even thought of asking the questions that are said to be asked. I've never even been asked by a massage therapist, do you want me to rub down in that area? No, that doesn't get asked. So I don't know what was happening. Yeah. I don't know what this is all he said, she said, and we can only go by what's presented. And what's been presented to me doesn't it gets to crude and rude behavior, and that's about it.
Yeah. 6 says also, if Deshaun Watson returns from suspension, he puts on a stellar performance, the Browns and the city of Cleveland might begin rehabbing his image. Well, that is what Deshaun wants to have happen after his suspension is over. Because I think he wants to so badly prove that, well, what we saw in 2020, before all of this crap began, was what he is now. He's a quarterback that's about elite, on the rise, and we should mention him in the same breath as we do Mahomes and Allen and now Stafford and Burrow and Herbert. You know, we're supposed to mention him in those same terms and not give it a second thought to mention his name and say, well, he's not as good as them, but to have his name mentioned as, well, yeah, he could compete with each and every one of them. That he was on his road to doing that. Now it's he has a long road to get back there.
and we talked about this on Monday. The absence and silence of DeMaurice Smith
is telling to me.
Is absolutely abhorrent.
It's telling.
I mean, it's funny, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
John Gruden was fired for what he said about DeMaurice Smith.
Yeah.
Everything John Gruden said about DeMaurice Smith in that letter is absolutely true when you look at the fact that he won't even comment on this. He's the NFLPA representative, and he's not even out there saying, "Hey, I want." And I said this: you don't have to stand with Deshaun Watson to say, "I want the player treated as you would the owners."
Yeah,
I want equal treatment for everybody involved.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody involved needs to be punished at some level. That's all DeMaurice Smith needs to say. He's not involved in whether or not Deshaun Watson is innocent, guilty, or whatever. His job is to make sure the process is fair. Does anything seem fair about this process? Because it's about 95% Deshaun Watson and about 2 or 3% of people talking about the Texans.
But this goes into
and that's not right.
No, it's not. This goes into the same pot I've been saying about the NFL for the longest. The labor union is, without question, and it is by a country mile, the weakest of all the professional sports. And that is yet another example as to why. You have a player who is possibly going to be sitting on the sideline for many a game. There is a talk about the ownership having a role in helping this guy being suspended for these many games. And you do nothing in terms of putting forth a brave front, putting forth a defense, or representing your client, because he is one of the labor members, in saying, okay, we understand he did this, but you know what? Justly punish these others who are also complicit.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that from him. I am not surprised we haven't.
Yeah, if you're looking into all of the interactions Deshaun had with these women, why are you not looking into the women and what their interactions were after said? What agencies did they go to?
Mm-hmm.
And did those agencies contact the Houston Texans? And did the Houston Texans squash those? Because if they covered up any of this, they're complicit in it.
Oh yeah.
And that's I know you said you do a true crime podcast.
Yes, I do.
So you'd be well versed in the chain of evidence. Follow the chain. Follow the chains. If they, I mean, I can't wrap my head around that these women said absolutely nothing to anybody, because if they're getting where's all this information coming from? It's got to be coming from somewhere.
Yeah,
it can't just be word of mouth. It's got to be from some kind of documented, like, hey, this person came to me. Well, where did you go with it after? If you tried to contact the Houston Texans, what were you told? What were you told to do? What were you told to say? You can't tell me from 2017 to 2022, there was no interaction between anybody. You can't tell me that. I can't. I mean, you can, but I don't believe. I don't believe it. I don't believe that nobody knew of this. That nobody overheard a conversation in the locker room, like that absolutely somebody must have heard something and pulled him aside and been like, "Yo, don't do this." And somebody at the Houston, somebody obviously caught wind of it because they got the non-disclosure agreement. Mm-hmm. They got the non-disclosure letter from the head of security. Yeah. Somebody must have known. It's like we always say in these cases. When did you know and what did you do? When did you know and why? And what did you do? That's what we need to know. We need to know what was done because clearly something was going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, I'm loving the fact I'm actually talking with someone who actually thinks extremely similar to how I do about this situation, because I have been raked over the coals whenever I've ever said the Texans are complicit too and they need to be punished. Raked over the coals when I said that, well, Deshaun may not be guilty or may not be considered guilty of rape or sexual misconduct, but he definitely is guilty of bad thinking and making horrible decisions. And I have been raked over the coals when I have called some of these massage therapists hoes. None of them are. Some of them, though, are. And I only say it because of what I have read in depositions and what they actually did. Because I'm like, some of them, I'm like, wow, okay. So you saw this inappropriate behavior, but you had him come back again and again, and it took the third visit for you to say no more. So the first time he did this wasn't inappropriate enough. It's those types of things. And I phrase it all. I'm like, man, all hands are dirty. All hands are dirty.
And what gets me about the time come back, like, I get it. Like, all right, this happens the first time, and it obviously happens at the end. So you're like, you're shell shocked. You're probably shell shocked at that point. Like, what just happened? What did I just go through? Mm-hmm. And you go, all right, and that guy calls up again and says, hey, I want a massage, and you go, okay. Your first conversation walking through the door is not, hey, let's not have a repeat of last time, because we're not doing that. Like, I don't know how many times I've done something stupid and gone back to some, and people have said, okay, and they've come, and the first thing I walk in the door and they're like, hey, let's not have a repeat. Let's not repeat last time, and let's just be cool. And you're like, okay, like, yeah. Mm-hmm. You're like, yeah, I screwed up. Good. Like, none of that was like, that's why I said I would give them the floor on my show to just say, what happened? Yeah. What happened? Spell it out for me. How did we get here? How did we get here? Mm-hmm. Because none of this makes sense. None of this makes sense to me. And like you said, Deshaun Watson calling him a liar. I'm sure he is stretching the truth. I'm sure he is bending it as much as he can. I'm sure he is not. I'm sure there are parts that he is that he has taken out. That he has eradicated, and he has decided, you know what? I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes version.
Right.
But is he openly lying? No, a lie of omission is still a lie.
Right.
So yes. Mm-hmm. And again, I don't really, I was telling Snowman about this on Monday. I'm kind of one of those people who are like, I kind of want to hear the story from Deshaun Watson.
I do too.
But the more I see of this story, mm-hmm. and the more I read about this story, I don't want to hear any of it. It just gets grosser and grosser. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, Deshaun, just shut up.
Yeah.
Just shut up. Say, Yeah, I did something stupid. We're moving on.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I need to hear. All I need to hear from you is that you did something stupid.
Look, I winced when Rusty Harden said, you know, it's not illegal to have happy endings. I'm like, why would you say this out loud and in public? And you're defending a guy who has had many massage therapies with many different massage therapists. It just comes across as cavalier and misogynistic and chauvinistic. No. And it gave me more insight. I'm like, so if that is what he is actually publicly saying, well, how many happy endings did Deshaun actually get? And I don't want to know. Not that.
There's so much of this that I don't want. There's so much that I want to know. There's a lot that I don't want to know, and that's why I said I would be afraid of talking to Deshaun about this, because the more that comes out, the more I just go, no. I mean, Rusty Harden, that comment is absolutely 100% true. It's just 100% stupid too.
Exactly. 100%. Yes, it is true. It's not illegal to have happy endings, but no. Now, when you're representing your client who's actually getting massage therapists, massage therapy, and masseuses are allegedly giving them happy endings. No. You're supposed to represent your client to make us understand, well, that is what they want you to believe. He's not that type of guy. You basically saying he might be that type of guy with that statement.
You basically said, yes, he is that guy. But it's not. But then again, with Rusty Harden is not in the business of making Deshaun Watson look good.
True.
He is in the business of keeping Deshaun Watson out of prison.
Yeah, keep him out of prison and making money. Yeah, I agree with that.
That was Rusty Harden's job. Rusty Harden's job is done with this, because his job was to. This doesn't reach a grand. When this goes to grand jury, everything gets washed away. He did his job twice. Yeah. Now, whether he has to do it a third time, they always say third time's the charm. So,
yeah.
But I mean, but yeah, what he said and what Rusty Harden is, being a older white gentleman. Just what he said was absolutely. You just put your hands up and say, well, What are you doing?
Right.
There's no reason to give us this information. We didn't need it.
Didn't need it.
We didn't need this information.
Didn't need to hear it. Did not need to have the connotations of it when you uttered it to be seen in my brain. I'm like, no, man. No. Oh man, we could talk about this until the end of time, because I've actually enjoyed having this conversation with you about Deshaun Watson, because other than my man Snow, I'm like, I know there's more people than just me who think what I'm thinking with this case, because I know there are some intelligent people who are looking at this and thinking the exact same thing I'm thinking, and you today have proven that I'm right.
Well, I'm glad we had this conversation, and it is now part of the internet, and people can see it, people can grab it, people can gravitate towards this, because there's not one single media market that is having this conversation and the conversations that we had. There's not one, and that's the problem with this story. Is that there is not one media market, and I threw him under the bus because Mike Florio is one of the worst NFL reporters I've ever been around, and he has done full extensive reports nightly on his show PFT. He's done numerous exposés on his website where it's 99% slamming Deshaun Watson and not a mention of the Texans, not a mention of Cal McNair, not a mention of anyone else involved.
Mm-hmm.
It gets to me when these people are allowed to get away with this.
Yeah.
And they have shit, and it's like you said, the personal feelings on this, the public perception, that's what's going to drive this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the ultimate. We've talked about a lot of sad realities with this situation.
Mm-hmm.
The public perception is what's going to drive Roger Goodell to do whatever he decides to do.
100%.
And that is scary.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's scary, because public perception can turn on a dime.
Yeah.
And that you cannot. That's where DeMaurice Smith needs to say, no. You have to act unilaterally. You have to act in a way that creates a precedent.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just go carte blanche and go, well, the times are different. No. What Ben Roethlisberger did, I don't care that it was 10 years ago and that things have changed and we've had Me Too movements and we've got this, that, and the other thing. I don't care. You have to act in the same way.
Because you set a precedent. Yeah.
Because if you don't, then there's a lot more. You're opening a whole new can of worms.
Yeah.
And we have to dive into all that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to.
Yeah, same. But I think we will, because I really believe he's being driven to drop the hammer, even though you so eloquently stated, well, he already set the precedent with somebody who did a worse offense sexually and admitted to it. So yeah.
And they're gonna use the same terminology. They're gonna use the same terminology. Like it's one thing if they said, all right. It's one thing if they say, all right, Deshaun, because Deshaun was accused of sexual whatever, they're going to use the personal conduct policy. Yep. They're going to use the exact same terminology and come up with a completely different answer.
Mm-hmm.
It's like A plus B equals C, but in this case, A plus B equals F, because they're coming up with a completely different answer.
Yeah.
And that's where the question has to come in. And somebody has to stand up in that press conference. Somebody has to have the intestinal fortitude. I would use a different term on my show, but I will respect your show and say somebody has to have the intestinal fortitude to stand up in that room and go, why?
Mm-hmm.
That's all they have to say. First question. You from you from whatever media organization. Why'd you do this? and that's all they have to ask and get some kind of answer.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we need.
Mm. Oh man, well, he joins us every Wednesday. He's doing Summer of Greatness, and we actually got a preview of how we talk football too. Because this guy, he knows college football from like the back of his hand, and you can hear he knows his NFL stuff pretty well too. Chris, always, brother, it's a pleasure. And where can people find you?
Well, we've now moved to Thursday nights, so we'll be going Thursdays now because of a new job opportunity that I have. Has pushed the show to Thursdays, but we'll be going Thursday at 7:00, Fifth Down Sports Show. You can Google us. We're the first thing that comes up. You can find us on Spotify. Again, if you search Fifth, the number 5, TH. If you search us on Spotify, we're the first thing that comes up. That's the easiest way because you'll get everything sent right to you. And of course, we're always looking to expand into other realms, other types of things. We're always trying new things, but we also have Facebook Live. We have a Facebook page, so we're available, and we are. And just for anybody out there, anything I talk about on this show, anything I say I'm going to talk about on my show, if you want to be a part, if you want to express your opinion, whether you agree with me or not. In fact, I love it more when people don't agree with me, because as we say on my show, tell me why you're wrong. That's all I want to know is what you think and why. And if it's completely different from me, that's awesome, because I want both. I want all sides out there. So I will not be that. I will not be that guy. Oh, shut him down. Shut him down. He has a different opinion. No, I want the different opinion. If we take live callers, you can get in touch with our show. We will get you on the program. If you send us an email, we will read your email in full. We will not pick and choose, pick parts of it. We won't do what these, as we started the segment, we won't do what these bronsexuals do and pick and choose, pick a comment that fits our thing. No, we'll read your whole thing and we'll go, here's what he said, here's what's going on, and then we'll talk about it. But we're totally interactive. We love it, and we're gonna keep doing it as we do it. But like I said, Thursdays, and because I have the whole day off, we're gonna go early now, 7:00. We're gonna start the early time because Thursday night football's gonna start soon.
Right.
So we want to be able to get our show in before the game and before people get settled into that. So we're gonna start doing 7:00, and like I told Snowman, once I talk to my friend, because I have to see if she can come on my show first. If she is willing to do, I'm going to pull you and Brian into a chat with her and try to get her to come on here in the morning and reach more people, because Jenny does great work with her organization, and the more pubs she can get, better. And also, I just think she's an awesome person. I've known her for 20 years, so I'm working all these kinds of angles. So
I know we'll be glad to have her, definitely. And if you know her, she's good people. We already know that. So definitely we welcome that. Well, Chris Dietz, Summer of Greatness. You can find him every Thursday, as he said. I'm just so thankful that I had this conversation this time with you, man. This was wonderful. I needed to hear this. I need to hear this. I
loved it. I love getting all this stuff. I love airing all this stuff. And that to me is the most important thing. And again, tell me why you're wrong. I don't care if you agree or disagree. Just air it. Air your grievances. It's the most important thing. We need to have dissenting. That's why we have this platform. That's why we have this country. We're allowed to air our grievances. We're allowed to be different. We're allowed to come from different places, and we can still meet at the middle and say, hey, you agree here, you agree here. All right, we both agree there, but we're different. We have different ends. Let's figure it out. Definitely. And that's what I love.
Same. That's what I love too. Once again, Chris Dietz, he joins us every Wednesday, and I appreciate him joining us every Wednesday. And I love it when he does join, because this is family now. So you come to the end of this show now, and you can reach me at Cole Sports with a Z on YouTube, youtube.com/C/Cole Sports with a Z. That is where you can find takes similar to this, but it's a little different because, well, it's a different platform, just basically a different kind of the same me sort of thing. That's youtube.com/C/Cole Sports with a Z. All of you in the chat, thank you so much. You all are wonderful. And of course, thank you again to our guest at this time, and Chris Dietz. And all we have to say on behalf of my partner, Brian Snow, is the following. Take care. God bless. Remember, you make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. That's what Chris is doing. I know that's what Brian's doing. That's what I'm doing. We hope you all listening and watching are doing the same too. Join us tomorrow as we uncover some more untruths about Steph Curry, bronsexuals, and the like. Until tomorrow. tuning in to Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, the hottest of hot takes and the coldest of cold, hard facts.